Well, welcome back to our final matchup of today. We've got the Aaru Scorpions and the Kaolin Wardens rounding out our Thursday here in the North American SCC playoffs. I'm J-Max, still joined here by Mifflin on the desk. We get ready to jump into our final matchup. And as mentioned, kind of at the end of the last desk, I'm going to move into this one. Some pretty strong names kind of popping up on both these, and some rising stars for some of these teams as well. Specifically, a shout out that you gave towards Nnog over on the side of Kaolin Wardens. ELLEON recently joining over on this team at the tail end of the SCC. And on the side, at least for the Aaru Scorpions, some pretty potent names that you probably remember if you've at least been watching the SCC for any extended period of time. Taking a look at the bracket, Tyrian Weavers on the top side of the bracket right now after their win over Oblivion in a close-fought 2-1. And then that leaves Oblivion now on the loser's bracket. Winner of this will face off against the Tyrian Weavers between the Scorpions and the Wardens. Loser will face against Oblivion. As mentioned, I think that this is going to be the hardest of the two groups to really kind of battle out and find your way to being those top two. If you weren't familiar with all the teams or all the players on these teams, take a look at the Aaru Scorpions, RelentlessOne, Migiiiiii, Bayroneri, NotGeno, and GuyJ rounding out their roster. And for the Kaolin Wardens, Delnyyy, nnog, ELLEON, and Tubahh for this squad. And as mentioned, ELLEON a recent addition to this team. I believe it was right at the very end of the SCC phase. They ended up losing Evermed, who was the support on the side of the Wardens. ELLEON steps in the ever-present and role-diverse player that he is. I think this is, what, now 3 or 4 roles that he has played competitively so far over the course of his career. Feels like ELLEON can slot himself onto just about any team.
He's good at just about every role. I still think jungle's his home, and I think a lot of his fans would love to see him there. It is worth noting, though, as well, ELLEON not the only recent addition to the Kaolin Wardens, but also Pikoways subbed out recently, and it's Slash replacing him over in the jungle. So another new addition to this team that they're going to have to figure out how well they gel up against the Aaru Scorpions. And relevant information, again, is Aaru Scorpions are going to be your North American 3rd seed overall, and the Wardens are going to be the 5th seed. But we talked about it a little bit earlier briefly. It seems like, and this is true of the SEC and the SPL, there is a top 2 delineation, and then the bottom of the pack is a little bit more competitive. They trade games pretty consistently. So even though there is a bit of a seeding discrepancy here, this is going to be a very evenly matched up.
And seeing ELLEON in the support role for the Wardens makes me wonder, what are the picks and bans maybe going to be like for this team? Do you put heavy priority in getting something for ELLEON? Is he fine with just slotting with whatever is available at that time? Because we've known that he's been a bit weirder with some of his picks sometimes. Things like Sylvanas come to mind, maybe not necessarily for ELLEON's support, but he has played it in the couple of other roles competitive that he has gone with sometimes. So we'll see what does end up getting drafted for him. So question marks maybe all around. What's not really a surprise or a question is what has been banned. Some of the top mages right now on the side of the Scorpions, whether it be for solo or mid. Meanwhile, you look over at Athena, Aphrodite, Chernobog, no surprise for the side of the Kaolin Wardens, which leaves a first pick Morgan Le Fay, which isn't the first pick that I was imagining given what we have seen over the course of these 2 weekends so far. But it does feel like North America seems to like this Morgan Le Fay much more than the European side did.
Morgan Le Fay is the first overall, but the 2 picks top on the other side are the picks that you would associate with that first pick selection. Kukulkan, one of the most popular mages as of recent, especially over in the EU SEC. Saw a lot of first pick priority over there. Does make its way over, as does Raijin. So a lot of damage output in the magical department already starting to develop for the Wardens. But I like this from the Scorpions. Grab yourself the Thor. That pick has just been serving everyone really well. The global presence, the wall, all really hard to deal with. Even for gods like Kukulkan in particular, can really struggle up against the Thor. There's nearly 10 years of data on that exact matchup. And then the Anhur as just a consistent lane bully that you can rely on.
Yeah, I think another kind of tale between some of these teams out here is that, from what I can at least see and remember, no changes of roster for the Aaru Scorpions over the course of this phase and into this event where, as we mentioned, support and jungle, and at one point I do believe that we had Delnyyy jump into this Wardens team, so a lot of change-ups across the Kaolin Wardens roster for this phase. It's maybe kind of put them in the spot where they are, where they're not like the top team and there's still kind of that clear difference between them not able to quite find their spots. But with a Maui for the Kaolin Wardens going over for ELLEON this time, curious to see how he can pilot this Guardian, then pair that one with a Ram. An interesting dual lane, to say the very least, out of the Kaolin Wardens. Not one that we're traditionally used to seeing in this current meta.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of kill pressure potential from them. I mean, there certainly is some of it, and if you're able to bully someone out, you've always got the kill secure thanks to Astral Barrage, but otherwise, this looks to me to be a pressure the wave style draft in the dual lane for the Wardens. Both of them having those piercing auto attacks means they should be able to get pressure on wave pretty consistently. But when you look at the other side, the other dual lane, Anhur Ares, their pressure is very clear, and we've got a lot of data on it. They're looking for kills.
Yeah, walk up to the wave as Ares fire, minions are gone, you hit level 2, there's your chain access, and from that point is pretty much the W key for the Aaru Scorpions. So I think keeping an eye on the dual lane probably important for both of these two teams. Will it be the Aaru Scorpions or the Kaolin Wardens to come out on top here in game number 1? Well, to find out, we got to jump in with our casters.
Thank you so much, Desk. You got Dimes, you got Inbound running it back once again. Seeding is always at issue here, both in the EU Gauntlet and now the NA Gauntlet, but we've seen so many upsets both last week and this week, I'm not even sure it matters too much anymore.
Yeah, I mean, from this point, if you win, you're going to keep moving forward. If you're losing, you're going to be brought backwards. So these games, teams are playing very close, and like last week, like you said, seeding didn't really matter. We saw a lot of these lower-end teams actually able to compete. The SOC teams even played pretty well, so that's kind of the big difference with these. So you can never count out the lower-ended teams, even though the Aaru Scorpions were that 3rd seed, I think, and the Kaolin Wardens that 5th seed. It's going to be a very good game.
No uncomfortable invades coming out from either one of these squads. We're starting over here in the duo lane. Geno and Guy teaming up on a lane that we've seen reprised over and over, this Ares and Anhur. But taking a look at ELLEON and Tubahh, maybe throwing it back to the 2023 World Championships with this Maui Rom lane. Of course, it was Thanatos and Ishtar really dominating, but Rom saw a little bit of play as the Scorpions go right in. But walk me through this Maui, haven't seeing it too much, and Rom, always a consistent hunter, also kind of falling out of favor.
Yeah, it's the aggression of Ares and Anhur. A lot of damage, some decent clear out of Ares, and then Anhur's just kind of allowed to fight. And Myth kind of touched on it on Desk. The clear potential should be pretty in favor of actually the Maui and the Rama. The piercing autos with Rama. Maui also has piercing autos. He can group the wave up very easily. And there's interrupt potential on the flames that Ares has, which is a lot of his potential clearing there. So there's a little bit of a cat and mouse game. We'll use your flames. If you do, I'll jump on you. But then if I jump in, I'm all in. It's going to be an interesting 2v2 to see kind of how it plays out. But I would give a slight edge to this Rama and this Maui.
Slash heading over here to the duo lane. We've seen Guy jump in 2 or 3 times already here at 1.5 minutes, and Geno has been pretty free and liberal with the chains as well. A jumping from Guy would almost certainly spell death here early on with Slash on the left-hand side of the map. Goes in just a clear wave as ELLEON is joining Slash, taking out that shield buff. Rest of the map, not too much to break down in terms of differentiation from the meta, right? You got your mages in solo, you've got a couple, I mean, sure, the Thanatos has seen a ton of play, but we've seen it picked up a couple of times to moderate success, but I mean, it's a pretty safe map here for the Scorpions.
Yeah, Scorpions have a very safe kind of farm for that late game. Outside of dual lane, there's a lot of aggression, and there's going to be, we want to fight over here, we want to take fights over here. But then you look at the Thanatos, and he's already putting pressure onto this duo side of the map. He wants to put this aggressive 2v2 behind for the Scorpions, and I think that's kind of how this earlier portion is going to play. Yes, they'll go confirm their blue buffs, as you see now, but I would not be surprised when those blue buffs are down, the speed buffs down, red buffs down. Both of them are even actually playing towards the dual lane.
Oh no, Slash might have caught RelentlessOne completely out. Instead, just silence and a walk away there. Migiiiii's making the rotation as well. Slash could have called that out and known that was not a great engagement to get into. Scythe straight to the face of Migiiiiii. Didn't do too much damage. Invasion here from Migiiiiii and RelentlessOne isn't going to come up with much, as Delnyyy is able to pull the blue buff underneath of their own tower. Aaru Scorpions retreat to grab their own buffs, and it's a reset here. Shield buff due to respawn. Could see some action. Fireworks here on the left side of the map, and we haven't really touched on the mid lane, and inbound, I doubt we're going to touch on the mid lane, considering Bayroneri and Nnog are playing 2 mages that are not looking to get involved until 15 minutes.
Yeah, these are, one's an objective secure god, and one is a level 20 I'll farm until then god, so you're absolutely right. Don't expect much from them. Maybe they rotate to an objective here or there, but they're not making plays on their own regard. They're trying to help their team out mostly, so I think you're 100% right with what we're going to see in this mid lane.
Only going on RelentlessOne. You know, we're not there yet. We just saw a big patch. Of course, these games played on a little bit of delay, so we're not witnessing the fruits of that patch. But, you know, while we have a little time to chit-chat, I'm just curious what your initial thoughts are about the patch. And we've seen kind of the same comps, the same strategy has been reprised over and over in these games as Slash is looking to make something happen. Guy's low. Guy dashes away. Rom goes in the air. Doesn't even need the shots from the sky, as a single scythe from Slash puts down the enemy hunter. First blood going the way of the Kaolin Wardens. And Rom wasn't even necessary there. Migiiiiii went up in the air as well, trying to turn it around on the left-hand side. That Thor ult's going to be down for about a minute now.
Yeah, Migiiiiii trying to rotate, trying to follow Slash there, but Slash is a bit too quick to get there, and that kill happened so quickly. Guy's not able to get to safety, and they clean him up. And unfortunately, Migiiiiii didn't have much mana outside of the ultimate, so even if he does go in, the trade potential isn't really there. Opts to play it a little bit safer. But even then, I mean, Kuku got those mid camps. Migiiiiii didn't farm that entire time. He didn't get a kill, didn't get an assist. I mean, a little bit of a jungle lead now, a mid lane lead for the Kaolin Wardens.
Delnnyyy's taking a ton of damage here. RelentlessOne used the ultimate. Delnyyy turns right around, throws out some of those barrels. RelentlessOne taking a good chunk of damage there. Solo lane, that's their CC ultimates down. Could be some potential there for a little bit of CC silliness as Migiiiii's making the rotation. Same thing goes for Slash as well. Delnyyy smart to Thunder Crash back under tower to safety. But Delnyyy and RelentlessOne both going to be unsafe for a little while longer until those ultimates are back online.
And with the wards on the right side of the map, Delnyyy knew they were there, and they knew they were looking for this invade. A lot of damage.
Ton of damage onto the Thanatos. No scythe available. Migiiiiii and RelentlessOne trying to pick up the first kill of the game here for the Scorpions. Haven't made it happen so far. That is a tough first ability there from Slash, who's going to fall to RelentlessOne. You hit that scythe, maybe you live. But instead, RelentlessOne picks up a kill for the squad.
And that reason right there is kind of why you don't see this Thanatos a ton. So reliant on that one ability in this early portion of the game. You hit it, you're probably getting a kill, maybe multiple kills. You miss it, unfortunately, you're probably dying, and that's what we saw there. We're talking about a different story if Slash hits there. Yes, he maybe still does die because Delnyyy is getting bullied out a little bit, but at the end of it, you miss the one, you're very susceptible to dying.
This Thanatos, I mean, with mages being taken consistently into the solo lane, sure, they're tankier, but they don't get there until mid-game. You know, you look at the Morgan Le Fay, and for all intents and purposes, she's a complete mage right now.
Yep.
No bruiser, right? You got a little lifesteal online, got a little health, whatever, but Slash is still going to do Thanatos stuff. So I understand the pickup, but like you said, you got to be on point with those sides if you want to actually take advantage. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, it's just been a brutal back and forth here, exactly inbound what you called at the beginning of the game. Very little action, but a ton of slap boxing. And again, in the middle, it's just been nice and quiet. Do you foresee continued action on the right side of the map until those protection items get online, or do you think the junglers are going to start spreading their attention elsewhere?
Well, with how the solo laners have to build, you have to build some magical defense to actually win that 1v1 against your laner. And that leaves you very susceptible to that physical damage out of the jungle. Both Thana, both Thor have free gank potential there with that ultimate ability. And that's why I expect him to still play over there a little bit of slap boxing and left, but there's still going to be very easy kills over in solo lane until that physical defense comes online. Because if they go for that physical defense, a lot of magical damage traded. I mean, even here, they have that tier 1, and they're still taking a lot of damage.
Kind of interesting to me that Migiiiiii has not tried to dunk on the Kukulkan yet, right? No CC immune ultimate, you only have the beads online. Maybe you strip away that relic, but at the very least, Thor ultimate's going to be online before the beads come back up. Geno trying to snag a couple members who immediately throw their ultimates out for some CC immunity and a little bit of damage at a Tubahh, but nothing to it. Geno does pull both ultimates, though. GuyJ's ultimate's down as well. Bayroneri taking a whole chunk of damage from Slash, who immediately heads into the air just to retreat, get out of there, as Migiiiiii crashes back down. Good call there from the jungler for the Wardens. We have to watch on as these middle lane Harpies fall to the combination of Geno, Bayroneri, and Migiiiiii.
And before we talk about that fight right there, looking at that dual lane, there's just so much safety on this Maui and on this Rama where I wouldn't even expect, you know, Geno to even visit over here that much except to maybe pull a relic or maybe pull an ult. Because outside of that, there's just a ton of safety on them. But going towards that mid fight, it's a really nice play by Slash, pulls the beads and then gets out of there. Little risky going back in. He actually takes a little bit of damage from that Baba, but I mean, he gets the beads, which is what you wanted at the beginning of the fight, and now we have minute and 20 seconds or 120 seconds till Baba beads are back up. So maybe that's something that the Wardens are going to look for.
Gold Fury's online, but we're not quite at the point where either of these squads are thinking about it. None of these junglers have taken an incredible lead here. Still got stacks working for both these ADCs. You don't even really see too much warding around the objective. As Guy and ELLEON going back and forth, shield buff ultimately falling to the Anhur here. But, you know, something I love to talk about, especially with you inbound and your insight, is secure, right? And we talked about it a lot. Bayroneri and Nog are going to be flipping a coin for any objective, but Nog's certainly coming out on top in terms of secure.
Yeah, 100%. You talk about Cuckoo in a lot of these fights, very few characters are going to be able to out-secure Cuckoo in the game, in all of SMITE with 130 gods. Looking at this, it's all Cuckoo as long as he can time it well. It still takes a little bit of timing, skill. Team has to be consistent with the damage. The damage stops for even a half a second. It can throw off the Cuckoo ult, but the Cuckoo ult does so much damage with that Mirrodin late game, with that Rod late game. That's the type of build he opts for. That, yeah, it's Cuckoo, and then nobody else for the next 4 highest secure gods, and then maybe the Baba.
Slash and Migiiiiii, both working on farming their respective sides of the jungle here. Migiiiiii heading into the opposite jungle, trying to snag either a buff steal or maybe look for a gank here onto Delnyyy, who's gone into the magical defense as you prophesized. So Thor's going to be hitting very hard with that Jotun's Wrath, a little bit of extra pin online and power as well in that second item. Nothing to it on the right-hand side, though. Just notice both these junglers have, like, way too many letters in their name. Slash has, like, 19 A's. Migiiiiii has, like, 11 I's. You know what Migiiiiii stands for, by the way, in Japanese?
No.
It means right.
Oh.
Shout out to the anime Parasite for teaching me a little bit of Japanese. That's the extent of it, though. That's pretty much the only word I know. As shield buff going down on the left-hand side, and that's where we've devolved in this game, Inbound, to talking about Japanese words, because really nothing else is happening on the map except for ELLEON going, well, I wasn't going to say going deep, but that is his side of the jungle. So in fact, defending his side of the jungle from the Scorpions, who are not able to confirm that buff. And once again, quiet on the battleground here at about 11 minutes, essentially dead even in gold experience and any other metric you want to look at.
And when we're starting to hit this 11-minute mark, this is when you start to see those second relics come online. Interested to see if anybody goes outside of what's expected. Beads Aegis in both mid, ADC, and solo in this current meta. Junglers can kind of go Blink Beads. Thor is a little bit more towards that Blink Aegis, but curious kind of what the supports go. We've seen a lot of frenzies, a lot of bracers. We already have that on Geno side, has that bracer. A little bit more defensive for ELLEON, going for that shell. So the burn is still going to be there. You have an auto attacker in the Rama. You have the secure like we talked about. But the true bracer burn, frenzy burn like combo can't be there. It'll just be bracer or it'll just be that frenzy.
Yeah, I'm looking at Nog, who's finished off the Divine Ruin, finished off stacking the Book of Thoth. Slash is going to, I hesitate to say fall off, because Thanatos is pretty relevant, at least as for a CC bot, tons of damage throughout the game, but is certainly not going to scale as hard into that late game. Is there some kind of value in just trying to dunk for the CC at this point and using Spirit of the Nine Winds to try to get something going as the Stygian Beacon is getting fought over here?
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be potential there, especially with, I mean, as you said, Nog's in a really strong spot in terms of damage. I think the problem they kind of lean to is there's really nobody they can kill. A lot of defensiveness on the, actually, huge ult.
Ooh, Geno gets locked in. Well-placed island as well. Nog hasn't thrown out that dragon yet. Geno locked down perfectly. No, not
Migiiiii's
perfectly timed dragon. As Geno's able to escape. Leon and Slash combining for some excellent CC there.
He
down
missed.
Goes to support, but GuyJ turns it right back around onto ELLEON. Slash getting forced out from that home sweet home out of Bayroneri. A 1-for-1 support trade, though. ADC's going at it. It didn't feel, though, like that second support really needed to die there.
Yeah, and it seemed like that was all Wardens right there in that fight. That 3v3 looked like it was so clean. But unfortunately for them, Guy looks to drop that duo lane wave, lets it go under tower, and actually looks for the rotation, and Tubahh on the opposite side pushes that wave underneath, and that's why that trade actually ends up happening. And it's because just Tubahh's prioring, just getting farmed, trying to get ahead, and now he's got that 1-level lead now. But Guy wants to rotate to that, wants to get his team that trade potential, and also fighting for that beacon in this early portion. Yes, the first one doesn't really matter, but if you stack it up, you get 2, you get 3 beacons, it can kind of change fights a little bit.
Okay, so Guy rotates, loses the wave, but gets a kill for it. Tubahh, like you said, a little bit of a level lead. What does Tubahh do with this lead, and it's now even, by the way, to elongate it and make it worth not rotating to that engagement?
It makes it a little tough because Guy got the kill. I think we're talking about a different story if Guy doesn't get the kill, because that makes it so losing that wave doesn't really matter that much because you get the XP, the gold in that kill. Tubahh should still be slightly ahead, and it's just try to get to that late game with Rama. You're not a 1v1 character. Yes, you have a strong 1v1, but are you ever 1v1ing an Anhur? Rarely, right? So I just want Tubahh to keep farming, get to that late game. You also see kind of how both these teams are going to play out into that late game. Neither of them really want to win the game by 20 minutes. They both have these items that they're looking to scale with. You see Baba going for that cloak build. So they have options and reasons to want to scale. But there's a night and day difference between a Rom late game versus an Anhur late game. So all I want to see is Tubahh just get to that late game as quick as possible, because that's when the Wardens really pop off.
Gold Fury and Pyromancer now, as we approach 15 minutes, legitimate targets for both of these squads to go after. You take one good team fight, drop a couple members, and head right over to one of the major objectives. Geno trying for a cheeky steal, isn't able to get that done, as there's a rotation from Migiiiiii and Bayroneri just to back up Geno in case of aggression on the left-hand side here. And then, like you said, we're seeing scaling from all of these characters, right? Rom's looking to get that dominance online. Same thing goes for the Anhur. The junglers are starting making their way towards huge power spikes as well. Do you foresee a big 5v5 team fight going to be the real first engagement of this game when RelentlessOne and Delnyyy actually leave their lane?
Yeah, I think that'll be the first fight we actually see, and this is around the time when the solo laners look to rotate, when they have both defenses, magical and physical. But before that even happens, Warden's pulling.
Here they come on the right-hand side there. The Scorpions are out of position as it's Geno versus the world here with GuyJ in support, trying to snag a couple, but CC Immune Ultimates just completely knocked that out of the park. Wait a minute, who got that Gold Fury as it goes to the Kaolin Wardens successfully? Pyromancer traded back to the Scorpions and a successful escape here from the Kaolin Wardens. Gold Fury for Pyro. If it's a straight-up trade, who do you put that towards on top?
I give it to Pyro just because I think the playmaking potential you get with it can really change how a game is played. Because usually on top of getting Pyro, you can get a tower also, or you can secure something else. Migiiiiii tries to look for a plan. Delnyyy doesn't pull anything. Delnyyy doesn't use beads, doesn't use Aegis. But I think Pyro bomb potential in 20 minutes, or at 20 minutes, at 25 minutes, I like that a little bit more than I like this Gold Fury.
Another Stygian Beacon on the way here. Like you said, it's small stat gains, right? A little bit of extra power. But it's important. I mean, at the end of the day, in SMITE, sometimes it's the smallest numbers. It's that extra 15 ticks of damage, or 15 points of tick damage that could maybe spell living and dying. So at the end of the day, the Stygian Beacon is certainly an important objective that you should prioritize in your matches. It's the Kaolin Wardens support ELLEON, known for being aggressive in ADC, jungle, support. Doesn't really matter what role you put this dude in. Gonna put it pedal to the metal every single time. Looking to kick something off in the Scorpions jungle. Can't find an angle.
And 2-2 so far. Nothing really popping off. No massive fights. Couple 3v3s, maybe like a 4v4 here. But again, it is really hard to go onto this Warden's comp outside of this Cuckoo and actually commit to them. A lot of safety on the Maui, safety on the Rama. Raijin has a ton of safety. I mean, even committing to the Thanatos has potential to heal up with that one and then get into the air. So we talked about it a lot. Not much to really say beyond both of these teams are happy to go late, and that's when the fights will really get, exploded, and we start seeing 4 or 5 people dying. And it should be pretty soon, at least. The bright side, we're 17 minutes in. Players are starting to hit level 17, level 18, and we're starting to see those second relics, but not too much yet.
Stygian Beacon looks to go the way of the Scorpions here. You have 3 members of the Wardens grouping up with a late rotation here from the ADC Tubahh, as the Stygian Beacon does indeed go the way of the Order Squad here. And when you think about the way that the 4 kills on the map have come, right? First Blood was just a 2-minute gank from Thanatos, which is exactly what you'd expect from the jungler. Then we had a trade, and then Thanatos died when he stepped out of position. And we've been seeing some stellar positioning. We've been seeing some excellent movement about the map. It's very easy to get caught out, and that's where you see a lot of kills in the early game, is someone just stepping out of place, gets CC'd, and then dies. But both these squads have been playing pretty intricately in terms of the way they've been moving around the map.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to bring up. The teams have been playing to not die instead of playing to maybe look for a 1v1 or something. Outside of Anhur a couple times in duo early, nobody's really been jumping in. A lot of the times it's holding that jump, just trading normally, and then if they start to lose it a little bit, they'll either back up. If they get fully committed to, they'll jump out. So it's both of these teams playing for that more defensive option and trying not to die over trying to get a kill.
Inbound, the thing that's so interesting to me about the way that competitive SMITE players draft a composition or bring a strategy into a game. Sometimes you see 2 early game comps or an early game and a late game comp, and you can kind of, the way it's going to go, right? This one team is going to get an advantage. They're going to be good early. They're going to try to win it by 25. This other team is scaling, blah, blah, blah. But when you draft 2 late game scaling comps that are quiet for 25 minutes, I mean, sometimes we see one explosive team fight at 27 minutes, and that's game over. I mean, it is one fight that decides the fate of the game. I mean, as a competitive player with tons of experience, when you're in a position like this, when you're looking to take that engagement, I mean, how do you make a choice? Like, this is the one we're going to take that could just win the game.
I think it's more so you just see like this opening that just looks way too good to be true, and you just go for it. And at the end of the day, if an opening is right there, it's obvious, especially when you're playing a god like Maui or Ares and you have like this big game-changing ultimate. I mean, if you find somebody and you pull a relic, even if it's just beads or even if it's just Aegis, that is a massive opening you can exploit by the next time your ultimate is available. It doesn't have to be an all-in, we are taking this fight, let's die if we need to. It is, we just want this relic.
Tubahh up in the air, once again immune to the ultimate, but GuyJ going right in. Tubahh pops the Aegis there, does force the ultimate from GuyJ, looking to put out a little bit of extra damage as we've got a tower dropping for the first time in this game. The Aaru Scorpions claiming one of the Warden's objectives. Wardens did grab a Pyromancer there as well, so it's always trade for trade. It's Gold Fury, it's Pyro, it's Tower for Pyro. I mean, it's back and forth with these, between these two squads here at 20 minutes.
Yeah, and these teams are playing like high-level teams right now. It's not... We are just running it down, trying to take every fight we can. It is calculated, you know. Oh, they got Pyro. That means they have more people on that side of the map. Let's make a play on left. Oh, they are doing Gold Fury. They have 4 people here. Well, let's get Pyro. And it's these trades that are smart, and they take, you know, a little bit of map knowledge, some good warding, and then just expectations of what the enemy team will have. And so far, both of these teams are pretty flawlessly playing with each other and playing kind of off of what the enemy team is doing.
Oof, that hammer from Migiiiiii smacked ELLEON. Way more damage than I anticipated on a support character. As ELLEON dunked a little bit earlier from the Thor, falling low here. Uses the shell, able to get away. He's up in the air, channeling it. Coming down on the Oni Fury. And the Aaru Scorpions, I mean, a force out of ELLEON, not even a kill, is going to secure the Oni Fury. That's essentially a TKO there for ELLEON. And the Scorpions take advantage.
And as you said, it's just... not even the kill that's needed, it's just getting him low enough that he has to reset, or if he stays, he's basically not going to be a character. So at that point, it's just a free objective. And when we see both of the supports have this shell, have this frenzy, all you need is that little opening for this frenzy pop into a secure to just kind of be opened. And that's, I mean, like you said, TKO, all you need, bully him out a little bit. As soon as he's low enough, just take the objective.
Aaru Scorpions want to keep the train rolling here.
The pull.
Looking to snag this middle lane tower. Migiiiiii pulled back in. Geno channeled the ultimate as well. It's going to be a wash as the middle lane tier 1 falls for the Kaolin Wardens. The Scorpions claim another objective going their way. And this is the first time we're really seeing a small lead starting to build a little bit, maybe a little bit of momentum heading the way of the Scorpions, which is almost immediately reclaimed by Tubahh snagging a tower on his own side of the map.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, yeah, like it's a little bit of a step forward. Like we're about to see a lead by the Scorpions, and then Tubahh gets a tower. Game's back to even. Still 2-2 in kills. I mean, it is... actually, I was going to say it's a small lead because I think map pressure should say there's a small lead in mid because you have that. But now you have 5 here on this Fire Giant.
And the Scorpions are just not there. It's RelentlessOne versus all 5 as Slash goes up in the air. Fire Giant's falling low. Kaolin Wardens secure the objective. They just caught the Scorpions sleeping inbound.
Yeah, they see GuyJ on the left side of the map, and that's all they needed to see. Yeah, they probably saw somebody reset in mid, but taking a 5v4 on Fire Giant at 23 minutes, especially when you have this Cuckoo secure, is good odds for you. So I like seeing that they pushed it. And again, these teams are both playing very smart. The Wardens see that opportunity they have, and they try to exploit it, and they exploit it very well.
And it's always the stuff after the stuff.
Oh, yes.
Is always what I look for. Like, you grabbed the Fire Giant, awesome. Fantastic, you look cooler, you're glowing red. What do you do with it, right? How are you going to use those extra stats to your advantage? Pyromancer, as being pinged out on the map here, is coming back online. But after Pyro, maybe even the Pyro fight, I mean, if you're the Wardens, where are your eyes going on the map here?
Yeah, I think playing for mid is good here because you already have the tier 1 and duo down. It also allows you to play around this Pyro after. But I mean, right now, Bayroneri's kind of sitting off to the side. Looks like he's starting to group now, but it looked like he was almost looking to make a play.
RelentlessOne, a little bit low. Delnyyy goes right in on that
pull.
takey Raijin. Nice pull in there from ELLEON, forces the relics out from RelentlessOne. Both junglers are in the air here. It's just a matter of who crashes down first. The Kaolin Wardens, they take the objective they were looking for and get out of dodge.
And it seems like these Maui ults, usually like all-in ults where you pull a relic, and if you get the relic, then good that you'll take that. But he's actually hitting the pulls, and they're not relicking them. And the Wardens are still playing patient enough where it's, sure, I mean, we got the pull, yes. He's going to relic when he lands, and we'll back up, and we'll take that. Just still trade a little bit of ults here or there, but it seems like they're almost just playing for these really small wins and then looking to just kind of use those wins to get like another small win elsewhere because they know the Scorpions aren't going to play too far forward because this is so far just 2 tier 1 towers with this Fire Giant, and the Titan in solo lane also is just going to be pushing down. Curious to see if they actually go for this tier 2 or they're just going to take that little win that they already got and back up, get some more farm, get their starters, get everything finished up, and then look to go again.
Wardens certainly don't seem to be hitting that back button. Grouped up as 4 with Delnyyy around the corner here. Geno is in a tough spot here for a very immobile Airy slash. Looking for the big time dunk. Instead, elects to just have patience.
Cuckoo.
I mean, I saw a Tubahh. Woohoo! Tons of damage coming out from Nog. Does Tubahh have the final shot? Sure does. As down goes GuyJ to some of those Astral Barrage arrows. Geno still low, but Bayroneri turns back around on the superstar mid laner here for the Wardens. A 1v1, and a couple of backliners fall.
And Nog, no beads available there. And that's what we're talking about. These little wins that you will just look to exploit. Migiiiiii sees no beads available. If I hit this stun, hit this ult, we can just instantly wipe him off the map, and that's all it takes. And on top of that, GuyJ just plays a little bit too far forward, gets hit by the stray Cuckoo ult, and then you can't Aegis 3 Rama snipes, and Tubahh hits all 3 of them, and just one of them is Aegis. So overall, great plays by both sides. Still Fire Giant, 4 strong on the Wardens, but I mean, losing Nog, Fire Giant is a really big deal, and it's not like Guy had a Fire Giant.
Scorpions see maybe a crack in the window here. Try to force it open. Turns out it's rusted shut. Drop off the Gold Fury. And it's still, yes, the Wardens took a couple of victories. They did take the Fire Giant. Some towers went their way as well. It's not like the Scorpions have been kicked out of this game. I mean, 3-3 in kills, a few thousand gold lead, but this is a 26, almost 27-minute game. 3K gold becomes less and less relevant as itemization gets finished off. Experience becomes less relevant as it's really only the supports now scrabbling for level 20, and the Primal Fury is going to be the next target here.
And it almost seems like the Scorpions, even though they are down that Fire Giant on 4, and actually Fire just drops off, but even before then, it seemed like they were getting ready to fight on the Fire Giant Wardens team, but no Gold Fury pull. They were just kind of standing there looking to see what was happening. Now we've got kind of a reset on the map. Yes, Gold Fury's up, but a Gold Fury at 27 minutes, it's talked about all the time. It's not like the game-changing objective on the map. The game-changing objective is this Fire Giant, and in 2.5 minutes, it's going to transform into that EFG and become even more powerful. But we probably have one more fight where maybe if the fight is even, like a 3-for-3, and neither team can do Fire Giant, it might transform into that EFG, but it seems like this next fight is just going to be a normal FG. Maybe we see the Scorpions opt to take a fight beforehand, but I mean, we see what will happen if the objective drops low enough. It's this Cuckoo ult, and that's what the eyes are kind of going to be on.
Saw the effect of the Cuckoo ult on GuyJ in the last fight, right? The 80-20, and then the finish from Tubahh, coming off of essentially just that ultimate from Kukulkan. ELLEON forced backwards here. Kaolin Wardens have claimed this Fire Giant pit, staked a flag in the sand for themselves. Scorpions have been pushed out here. They have nice engagement. I mean, from Bayroneri and Ares, RelentlessOne throwing out some fears as well. I mean, the engagement's not bad. It's ELLEON looking to engage himself. GuyJ, beads, jump away. Tubahh goes up in the air. Migiiiiii, this could be a huge crash down from the Thor. And once again, patience prevails as both of these junglers, they don't like what they see and they crash back down to earth.
But if you look at the relics after those, yes, a lot of ults used. No relics now available on GuyJ, and actually, Geno looking for the ult.
Delnyyy having the ultimate online, though, for CC immunity, pulls Geno back in. Tornado a little bit off the mark there from Nog. The Scorpions, once again, able to step back with little to no damage being dealt here by the Kaolin Wardens. Everyone's in a spot where the only people really stepping forward are these solo laners and the supports. and they're so itemized that, you know, that chunk damage isn't really going to touch them all that much.
And it actually looks like the Wardens were seen backing, and there's no Cuckoo here, no Cuckoo ult available.
Oh, it's just Delnyyy, no ultimate, and slash. I mean, this is going to be
Frenzy.
a Miracle Scythe or a dive here by Delnyyy. Fire Giant's going to be a coin flip. Scorpions able to secure the objective. Delnyyy immediately hits the back button. Slash is up in the air for some, we'll call it vision.
Yeah, vision. He was up in the air for vision, trying to see if anyone was trying to make a play on the Scorpion side of things. But the Scorpions see that small mistake, and it is a mistake. When we're getting to these 29 minutes, if you back in vision, especially with a Fire Giant up, that is a mistake. You are making a mistake. You're giving the opportunity to the team on the opposite side to make a play, and make a play indeed they did. Yes, it's still only a regular FG. Still, again, not the end of the world for the Wardens. They have 3 tier 2s that the Scorpions have to break through. But this is kind of like that first step the Scorpions need.
Wardens still want to press the gas pedal here as the solo laner for the Scorps is pulled in. A little bit unfortunate geometry there is going to keep RelentlessOne from being yoinked all the way back toward the Kaolin Wardens. ELLEON's Maui ultimate is going to be down for a little bit, but likely shouldn't play too much of a role unless the Scorpions want to take intentional advantage.
And now when we're starting to look at this sieging potential on the side of the Scorpions, 3 ranged characters. I think that's something that's not touched on enough when we talk about these mage solo metas is, yeah, maybe your frontline potential isn't nearly as, you know, one-shot strong, but you have a 3rd character that's able to walk up and kind of hit this Phoenix and actually do damage to it. I mean, yeah, there's some Guardians that have ranged autos, Sylvanas, Yemoja, Maui has somewhat ranged autos, but they're not really threatening Phoenixes, and I think you see what RelentlessOne is going to be able to do. He's going to be able to poke out, going to be able to hit these towers, and he's going to be doing relevant damage to them.
Scorpions threatening a tier 2 tower. Check out Migiiiiii on the left-hand side, pushing up a wave into the tier 2 in duo lane. 4 members of the Scorpions here, checking out some of those ranged autos you highlighted earlier, dishing out a little damage as well. It's always tough to siege into a Kukulkan, and you throw a Raijin in the mix, and it's just almost impossible.
Yeah, that's 100% a great point to bring up. When we're talking about sieging, it's got to... You have to be able to get your wave underneath the tower, and Cuckoo and Raijin are 2 of the greatest characters at clearing that wave before it can actually get under tower. And even if it does, that's a lot of area that's covered by those 2 gods.
This one got yanked in, and so did Geno, but that's an immediately response.
Cuckoo ult.
Huge Ares ultimate there. Still low, though. Crashing down. Slash finds the first execution of this game number 1. Slash wants to keep it rolling.
The pull.
As RelentlessOne, what a hook there from ELLEON to pull the solo laner back in. Little Dragon Breath at nnog puts the finishing touches on the solo laner. Full-on retreat now from the Scorpions as the Wardens. Whoa, huge shots onto nnog. GuyJ looked to at least return 1, isn't able to do so, but the Wardens took a whole chunk of damage in return.
Yeah, and they can't push anymore. The Wardens are forced to reset because Guy turned and kind of tried to take that fight. And if we're talking about a Deathbringer on her, maybe it's a different story. Maybe he can actually win that 1v3, 1v4, but not quite there with that Deathbringer. Still has those gooseberries in his build. But on top of everything, Scorpions are the ones looking to siege, and the Wardens just fought back into that. And that is the potential of a Thana in that late game. Yes, he's not like a true assassin in the late game in terms of being able to just kind of go in and one-shot someone, but he can just execute the enemy tank. So eyes on that through the rest of this game. That Ares is going to be one-shot, and now it's a lot of damage.
Speaking of the Ares, I want to talk to you about this ultimate because it's not finding a home in any of these fights. Do you just chalk that up to like, well, obviously CC immune ultimates and relics is the only Fury's going to go down? Is that game plan to end though? Like, do the Scorpions count on Geno not really pulling anybody back in the follow-up, or how can Geno change their play style in order to account for that?
Yeah, especially when you see the Ares not go blink. He's playing a more defensive style, wants to play back and control the dashes that the Maui has, the Raijin has. And it's I'm going to use my ult. I'll try to pull an ult if I can. At best, maybe I get a relic, and then that's something we can exploit. But I think, yeah, you're 100% right. It is mostly just him looking for either a CC immune ult or a relic, and then on top of that, we'll just make the play after.
Iron Giants gonna spawn sooner rather than later. Not quite online yet, but it's getting there. Vision's gonna play a huge role in this fight here at 34 minutes. Game is XP no longer relevant. Gold pretty much no longer relevant. Got some power pots coming out. Each one of these teams has a relic bomb as well, or a pyromancer bomb. It could play a role in securing that fire giant. 5v5, Kaolin Wardens doubtful to make a backing mistake again.
Yeah, and that's a good point to bring up too. So we saw what happened last time at the FG. A fight was taken, nobody died, but the Wardens had a really bad back. Now they're going to be kind of keeping that in mind where the enemy team can burn this. And looking at the builds, alt traded a little bit.
And Scorpions forced out from that island as well. GuyJ pressing forward here, not quite pulling the trigger on the Ares ultimate. Did it pull at least one ultimate there from RelentlessOne, which wasn't like going to do much damage anyway at this stage in the game. More for a little bit of poke than anything else. It's going to be a reset here from both these squads, as ELLEON didn't find what he was looking for with that island.
And now we're starting to hit that 35-minute mark. EFG is available. And looking at both hunters, we now see both have Deathbringer available. So now those are going to be a lot of threats onto the enemy backline, enemy frontline, and on these objectives even more than anything else.
Nice hook away there from ELLEON. Dragon finds Geno.
Migiiiiii?
It's not a bad amount of damage. Migiiiiii up in the air, giving the rest of the team intel. And once again, has been the MO in this game for both these junglers. I mean, you're not going to dive and just lose your life for nothing. Like, you're at the point where a dunk in is a dunk in. Sure, you find a triple dunk, but what kind of follow-up do you have? Migiiiiii clearly didn't see it.
Yeah, and a lot of the times we're seeing this this Thor, just kind of looking... Oh, the pull. Wow. The pull by ELLEON gets the beads, and actually, I mean, shout out Migiiiiii there too. The timing to use the beads to actually get the hammer off too, knowing that is something that could happen too. That was a nice high-level play by both players.
And the question is, does this open up the door enough for the Wardens to get things going? I mean, you saw the last Fire Giant go because one member of the Kaolin Warden backed and one was out of position. You send Thor back to base. Bayroneri was back as well, but the Kaolin Wardens not able to take advantage of a personnel difference in the Fire Giant pit. Now the Kaolin Wardens thinking, hey, you know, it's a bit of a dance, a tango on the right side of the map. You might as well grab the Stygian beacon.
Yeah, and it looks like they're not trying to really force a fight. Actually, it looks like a fight might even break out here.
Yeah, ELLEON wants to force a fight, clearly looking for that landfall around the corner as the Stygian beacon charging. You can see it going up and down, and red and blue there is going back and forth. Ultimate out, Desert Fury from the Anhur for the CC immunity.
He didn't get over the wall.
From the ultimate from ELLEON. ELLEON is low. ELLEON is locked down. Nice shell there, but Bayroneri with a potion, putting the finishing touches on the support. What a step forward there for ELLEON. It's going to be gone for 60 seconds as Kaolin Wardens aren't able to find a single return kill. What are the repercussions of that death?
Now we have only Nog ult available, I think is the one thing separating this pull instantly. There still is that threat where we don't have great secure. This, yes, Nog's half health, but all it takes is that ult to kind of change how this fight is going to be happening. Now we've got 5 strong versus 4 on the Warden side.
Nog with the ultimate's got to be the target. Slashes here as well. Slash.
Lot
up
of
in the
damage.
air. Geno is in executable range. This could be a straight-up kill here for Slash, but the Scorpions wisely grouping up around the support. You smash down if you're Slash there, and you're just you're essentially delivering yourself into the hands of death.
Yeah, and that's if he could even make it there to that Ares. He ulted from like the back camps, and Ares is sitting at the enemy blue buff. So it would have been risky anyway. Still about 5 seconds available here, but not a ton of time to actually be able to burn this down, especially with Nog still sitting around the corner. It seems like that pick, that ELLEON death is not going to mean much for this game. Yes, no relics for the next 50 seconds, but I mean, having a big 5v4 opportunity and not being able to exploit it, maybe something to look back on in this game.
Something else might be worth keeping an eye on. Nog hasn't backed since that last engagement, which means the health is still a little bit low as RelentlessOne and Geno are playing space creators here. Could be a dive from Migiiiiii, maybe, onto the mid laner who doesn't have those beads online for the next 40 seconds. Only a single Aegis. As there, finally, Nog goes back and heals up, giving me anxiety. It's going to be an FG drop from the Aaru Scorpions. And like you mentioned, that ELLEON death essentially coming up nil for the Scorpions. The Kaolin Wardens have been doing a great job putting just enough pressure here on the Order team that they can't really commit themselves to the objective.
And now it feels like for the 9th, 10th time this game, we're back to an even state. Both teams not really a big opportunity anywhere. beads down on Tubahh for another 40 seconds. So there is that small opportunity there. Migiiiiii pushing out mid waves, but I mean, this has been the tale of the story.
Oh, Geno's in a tough spot here, but just walks away as the Kaolin Wardens didn't
Migiiiiii?
love that engagement. Migiiiiii crashing down onto ELLEON. Scorpions looking for another pick onto the support. Slash
Frenzy.
and Delnyyy are in a brutal spot here. This is a full-on commit from the Scorpions onto the Fire Giant. The Wardens aren't going to let it go for totally free, though. Frontline's doing their job here for the Scorpions. One does fall. Fire Giant low. Mistimed from Nog. The Scorpions grab the Fire Giant, but they're going to pay for it. Migiiiiii goes down. Geno has already fallen. Bayroneri's the next target here for Delnyyy. RelentlessOne able to escape, but Slash with a 3-piece, putting the finishing touches on yet another member of the Scorpions. The Fire Giant was good, but the fight after was not.
And Slash looking to make a play. We had a 5v2 opportunity to end the game, and Slash looks for the blink right there anyway. Now we have 35 seconds, and they had a pretty clear opportunity to end there. If Slash just doesn't try to make that play, what are we doing?
Just a hero play. You said it at the very beginning of the game. Thanatos, if you don't hit your scythe, that's GG. And we just watched it play out in real time. The Kaolin Wardens going to take the consolation prize of a Primal Fury, which it stings a little bit when the first place prize was the Titan.
That stings me, and I'm casting right now, and that's stinging me. I can't imagine how the rest of the team is feeling with that opportunity, especially with how close this game has been. We're talking about, I mean, literally before that Fire Giant, we said 10th time this game where they're just lining up on top of each other, 5v5, both strong, no real weaknesses. And now we're going to have to go back to like almost the same place because we have EFG on 2 on the Scorpion side and no Phoenixes still.
Rewind just a second ago, as it's going to be an even state on the map here. Go take me back to that Fire Giant fight, right? We saw a commitment from the Scorpions. Wardens turned around. What really spoke out to you about how the Wardens were able to turn that around and Slash to pick up the triple kill?
It seemed like the Scorpions weren't on the same page with what they wanted to do. The Frenzy was popped at 2/3 health, and it didn't really burn. So it's either the damage wasn't there for that Frenzy to be popped right then, or somebody wasn't hitting the Fire Giant that should have been. That's the only thing that really seemed like it was a little bit off, because the call seemed good. He got a Frenzy onto 5. They all seemed to be in the right area. But it's just they either weren't on the same page or he overestimated the damage they were going to do to that fire.
And obviously we saw the Kaolin Wardens take advantage. Slash coming up on top with a triple kill, moving to 5, 2, and 3. Man, what a story that would have been. Slash finds the triple kill kind of quiet in the early game, and the Kaolin Wardens come out on top. Instead, finds the triple kill and then ints into 2 under the Phoenix. And the Warden's not able to capitalize, taking a Phoenix or anything, really. And now with all major objectives down, are the Scorpions going to try? It looks like they're going to try to take out this tier 2, but I mean, what opportunities do they have with the defense coming out from the Wardens?
Yeah, I think this is just a tier 2 with how weak it is. GuyJ can kind of just walk up without a wave and actually just kill this. Nog, even though he keeps the wave out, and that's the difference with FG versus EFG. With EFG, you don't really need the wave. You have a lot of backdoor shred potential with this EFG. But have another minute on Fire Giant. It's only on 2. The rest of your team doesn't have the sustain from Fire Giant. I think Phoenix is too risky, but I mean, it looks like they're standing here looking for something.
Scorpions, they felt the taste of defeat was imminent. They hated it, spat it out, turned it right back around. Phoenix is gone. Inbound. Did you see that? Holy cow.
Wait,
as Geno's going in, Geno might be gone though. Doesn't pull in anybody. An immediate up down from Slash is going to spell the life there of
Big
Geno.
taunt.
Goes out for 70 seconds. What a taunt there from the Raijin, but it's no follow-up. A 3-man taunt, pull back in from the Raijin ultimate. 0 follow-up, though. Left lane Phoenix is going to fall to the Scorpions. You turn it around, you grab Geno. I mean, nice defense from the Wardens, but you can only sing their praises for so long when ultimately their base has been broken.
I think the one bright side the Wardens got there is, you can see on the left side on the Aaru Scorpions, we have 3 beads down, all on the exact same timing from that Raijin taunt. So that is the big potential for the Wardens. This Fire Giant is going to be up in about a minute. They're going to have no beads on their 3 kind of prime members for 40 seconds after Fire Giant spawns. That is going to be the big opening. But as you said, the base has been broken, so somebody's going to have to push out those left waves or risk the Titan taking a little bit of damage from those fire waves.
And as we all are well aware at this point, the left lane, obviously the better lane to take down a Phoenix in, as it is opposite of what? You guessed it, the Fire Giant. There's your SMITE 101 lesson of the day, which means someone has to be on the complete opposite side of the map when the Fire Giant spawns back up. Otherwise, as Inbound so wisely said, Titan's going to take a little bit of poke. And don't underestimate those fire minions. We have seen games come down to the wire because of minions pouring into the base and essentially soloing the Titan, as the Kaolin Wardens are going to take possession of this Fire Giant pit. Oh, that is a 4-digit crit.
And it actually looks like Delnyyy is in base right now, so the Scorpions have a 5v4 opportunity here around this Fire Giant. Yes, they have no beads for 40 seconds, so eyes on Slash to actually make that play. Migiiiiii actually takes a little bit of poke there too, and he's backing also. So now it's almost back to a advantage Scorpions, because these beads are back up in 30 seconds. They have the left base broken. Delnyyy is showing in left. And with this next EFG available, I mean, still, I've said it multiple times this game, eyes on the Cuckoo, best secure in the game by a mile. But, I mean, we've seen this Cuckoo not secure the past couple.
Like you're reading my mind, Inbound. How freaky. I was just about to say, this Kukulkan's got to be on point with pulling the trigger. We saw the Dragon come in a little bit early. Could have been a Fire Giant and a game win for the Wardens. Instead, the Scorpions on the good defense. Fire Giant going down to the Scorpions. Geno trying to kick things off. Doesn't pull anyone. Nog beats down. Fire Giant's been dropped here. The Scorpions want to completely commit on the Wardens. Migiiiiii annihilated by the Dragon. Nice follow-up there from ELLEON. Not Geno, the next to fall. Nog escaping successfully. Bayroneri down from Tubahh. Wasn't even a Fire Giant fight, really. The Kaolin Wardens take out 3. And this time, Slash is full HP, and the Kaolin Wardens have all personnel on deck. Still choosing to do the Fire Giant, not rushing it down to the Titan. Looks like they're playing this one as slow as game number 1 has been.
And it seems like they just have so much time available getting this EFG, so that little bit of sustain for Nog, getting him back to at least 2/3 health before you look for the end. And I think on top of that, also waiting for the Cuckoo ult to be available again. I mean, 5v2 available here, EFG on all 5, and all they need is 1 Phoenix to be able to go down to the Titan.
It's looking unlikely here for the Scorpions as the Kaolin Wardens are diving deep on the Morgan Le Fay. Tubahh finishing them off. GuyJ to fall here to Slash, who's going to end with a Slash line of 8, 2, and 5. The Scorpions will fall to the Kaolin Wardens.
And that says 15-5 in kills. But it was a much, much closer game than 15-5. Back and forth all game. Yes, one ended with 10 more kills than the other. But that's just kind of what happens towards the end of the game. I mean, you have to kill at least 4 to, you know, be able to go for the actual end. But overall, really slow. I expect maybe the same in the second game. I mean, close game from both of these teams.
We got to talk about the Ares really quick. I mean, did it just not come up big enough? Was it the play style? Is it going to be picked in game number 2? Give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think the Ares should be left behind. I think that was a pretty obvious difference in how the Scorpions wanted to play, so I don't want to see the Ares in next game.
And then really quickly, if you had to identify one thing from that Fire Giant fight for the Scorpions to improve on, what would you point out?
I mean, take your 5v4 advantage. It took so long that Delnyyy was able to rotate. Use your 5v4 advantage.
Kaolin Wardens coming out on top. A slow burn game number 1, but we've got a game number 2 coming your way in just a sec. Stick around.
Your gold got many lives, but only one soul that I intend to keep. It
That's right, the SMITE World Championships is just around the corner. Mifflin, do you know how many days are in a leap year February month?
What?
How many days are in the month of February on a leap year?
Does it change?
Yes, it's 28 days normally, but on leap year it's 29, and 29 is the number of days until the SMITE World Championships, so make sure that if you are going to be there, well, obviously show up and have some fun at the SWC. It's one of the best times of the year. If you can't make it, you can always tune in on our broadcast. We're going to be streaming the entire event live here on our Twitch and our YouTube channels as well, so make sure you are tuning in one way or another to the SMITE World Championships, and if for some forsaken reason you're not able to make it or are not able to watch it, we'll always have our go over onto our SMITEBot YouTube as well. It's going to be a great time of the year. You're going to get to watch all the pros battle out, see who's going to be your Season 10 World Champion. And it's going to be just a great event overall. And two teams right now trying to fight for a chance to get to that stage, Mifflin, is the Kaolin Wardens and the Scorpions. After game number 1, so far slants in the way of the Kaolin Wardens. But, Miff, this is a game where it felt like you could have loaded at any given minute of this game, and you could have said, okay, well, maybe it's going to be that team. Maybe it's going to be that team. There really was not a clear, concise winner throughout this game until the very last team fight in the game ends, is how close this battle really was.
Yeah, these guys doing their best to fight the North America doesn't have macro game allegations, right? They really did slow things down. Both of them came with a strategy towards the late game. No one was like getting overly aggressive. I didn't see any super risky objectives the first 20-some-odd minutes. But, and it's something that the casters had highlighted very well, when you play that slow of a pace, when the game is almost a handshake agreement to hit that 30-minute mark, it does put so much additional weight on the first true 5-on-5 engagement. And by the time that first true 5-on-5 engagement went down, it was a solid win over towards the Kaolin Wardens. And with it, grabbed themselves a Fire Giant, solidify that lead, I believe ending that game at around that 15-5. Bobby had said very well that it wasn't exactly reflective of how difficult a match that was, and I tend to agree, but at the end of the day, that was just how would you word it? The meeting of two strategies where one gets eviscerated. Maybe you would call that easy. Would you call that easy?
I don't know if I call it easy, but at the end of this one, it really just felt like this was one team fight's all you needed to kind of break things open. It was a back-and-forth one. Sure, kills at this point are leading for the Kaolin Wardens, but you look up at the top, and gold is technically in favor of Scorpions. Now, 45 minutes in, gold at this stage means, you know, maybe a power potion or elixir for one player versus another kind of state, but at 3k gold at that point, all it really does take is one fight, one Fire Giant, one siege defense to really nail it on the head there. The Kaolin Wardens pick off 3, get the enhanced Fire Giant, and then get their last 2 kills as they surge up the mid lane to be able to end this one out. So, information, at least for these two teams, they're resilient. They're able to play around the objectives. They're not willing to take extremely risky plays to try and pull their lead. So what do you do for game number 2? If you play that same exact style, sure, let's load back in 35 minutes into game number 2 at that exact same point. Again, it could coin toss either way, but pros and people of the like have, again, and even as you stressed, when you wait that late into a game, you don't really want to weigh your coin toss on one single team fight for these two teams. So we'll jump in to picks and bans for game number 2 now between the Scorpions and the Wardens. We'll see if that similar style of play, maybe if those similar drafts come back once more. I know that Inbound at the very end of that one saying was not a big fan of the Ares for the Aaru Scorpions, so maybe a change at least in the dual lane for this team.
I think it's not even that, and I'm probably putting some words in Inbound's mouth here, but I don't think it's that he doesn't like Ares as a pick. It's that he doesn't like Ares with a team identity. You don't want to take Ares into a composition like that where you're planning on playing for the hyper late game. And I think that is an adjustment that could be made if one team says, look, we played the late game strategy. We lost out on it. Your opportunity now or option is, well, I can go back to that late game, double down on it, and try and beat them there. Or you all in on early game. Don't allow your enemies to play to the strong point of their composition. Play instead throughout that first 20 some odd minutes, get some hyper aggressive picks. That's where Ares generally sees the most of his success. Play that style, and you can kind of play the set play a little bit.
We do have one swap up of gods. You have the Puch now joining the ranks of the Aaru Scorpions alongside the Hachiman, which is also a bit of a pivot, at least for the team. Does leave open a Janus for the Kaolin Wardens, and we've seen a little bit of Janus play over on the EU side. We know that when ELLEON is playing mid, he loves to go with this god. But now, seeing it at least for the Kaolin Wardens going into Nog's hand, I'm excited because I think this was one of the gods that he kind of had a breakout performance qualifying up into the SCC and kind of throughout the time during this port. So I'm excited to see at the very base what this Janus is capable of, what the build paths have kind of changed up for the mid laners. Always feels like Janus is kind of that one mage that doesn't quite have to build what all the other big hitting mages are doing.
No, plays a very different style, very solo agent, doesn't really need to be too concerned with what his allies are up to. Instead, plays that hit and run guerrilla warfare, jungle engagement style of mid lane. I was really surprised to see this though. Generally, when you see a Janus locked in this early in a draft, the immediate answer is we'll get Susano. That's one of the few assassins that can really stick to the Janus, chase him through those walls, send the Typhoon through, and still be disruptive. And I was thinking, okay, well, maybe the Wardens are going to have to ban out the Susano themselves. Instead, it's the Aaru Scorpions to say, man, really wouldn't want to play against that when it was one of the better options, I think, to fit their draft.
So instead, the Scorpions will go with a nnog for their jungle, and then adding a Khepri at least to the duo lane gives you that extra level of safety to be able to maybe make those riskier kind of dives that it felt like the Scorpions weren't quite willing to go towards in some of the early game scraps, some of these mid-tower dives that we were seeing, kind of the, oh, I took a couple too many shots, why don't I just back away? Now you got a Khepri by your side, can maybe make you a little bit more willing to kind of go for that push. And then to round out the draft, a god that's really had a nice little pop-up resurgence here in North America, Batz for the Kaolin Wardens.
Yeah, Batz is just one of my favorites out of the jungle. He is the absolute ultimate just, I'm getting in there, I'm going to get things started style of pick. Fear No Evil is an amazing ability from ahead, and if you're level 5 against level 20s, here's the thing, Fear No Evil still works.
We'll have to see if the Kaolin Wardens can close this one out in 2, or are we going to be going to a game number 3? We'll find out as we jump into game 2 with our casters.
Thank you so much, J-Mac. You still got dimes. You still got inbound. This is a cat. And my first question, looking at that draft inbound, the Morgan Le Fay snap picked up first. Did you see enough of an impact in game number 1 where you'd snag the Morgan Le Fay over the Raijin?
Yeah, just like seeing your cat. I like seeing the Le Fay again. I think she had a good impact. I think she did just as much as the Raijin. I don't think the solo laners really dictated too much. I think a lot of it came down to the other 4 picks. And beyond anything else, I think the Khepri pick in this game by the Scorpions makes a lot more sense than the Ares did in the last game. So I really think Geno on this Khepri will be able to have a much better kind of dictation of how the game is going to play than his Ares did.
Is the identity enough reminiscent of game number 1, that sort of pushing late game identity, where you see the Khepri being a better pick, or has the composition changed enough that their strategy has shifted as well?
I think both teams will probably play the same type of style. I don't think either team wants to kind of dominate. And especially looking at the dual lane of the Scorpions, Hachiman instead of Anhur is a better late game character. I mean, already, look at this laning phase already. ELLEON is down to 300 health, and that is off of 1 combo. If we see another one of those, that is a dead ELLEON if he doesn't heal up enough. And going to the late game portion, which I expect this team to stay with, the safety of this Hachiman on top of the Khepri allowing this nnog to solo dive by himself because of the safety of Scarab's Blessing, just a much better, well-crafted comp by the Scorpions than their game 1 counterpart.
Early gank here from Slash. Could spell curtains for RelentlessOne. Monkey doesn't connect. Not a ton of damage with that overhand smash. And a nice disconnection there from RelentlessOne to force out Slash. I do want to chit-chat about this Naja, though, because it's another one that really makes you cock your eyebrow. I mean, Naja has kind of been relegated to this pocket pick status, right? Where you only see the best of the best Najas, like the Sinos of the world, pull it out. What is it about this composition, or maybe Migiiiiii as a player that you saw in game number 1, or this comp here in game number 2, that you think Migiiiiii could potentially thrive on this pick?
with how this comp is going to play and how last game played, a lot of the times Migiiiiii was solo diving by himself. There was really nobody with him. Maybe the Ares was with him pulling a relic. I think the one thing nnog does exceptionally well, better than nearly any other jungler, like period, in the game, is he is one of the best solo divers in the game because he can use the 1-3 to just waste a bunch of time, get some good poke, can use the ult to pull a relic, can use the ult for disengage, has that healing in the 2, and all of this on top of it. Doesn't mean your kill potential isn't low because you have so much damage over time, but just your safety and your playmaking and relic pulling is just so much better than any other character, and it's just, he does so many things well.
Kaolin Wardens on the worst side of an
Nog's here.
exchange in the left-hand lane, and same thing goes on the right side as Nog is rotating in, and RelentlessOne dropped. That is a level 4 Morgan Le Fay with no defense online, and it went exactly as well as you'd think as the Kaolin Wardens strike first here in game number 2, looking to cap off the Aaru Scorpions with a 2-game sweep, and they take the blue buff on the back end just as an insult to injury.
And I think a big thing to touch on with these comps, Nog actually ulting through trying to get that green buff. Maybe a fight here.
This could be a solo kill. Ultimate comes out from the Opwash. That's going to do a ton of
Low
damage,
mana.
taking as well. But Bayroneri was completely out of mana, slowed down. Extra damage from the threshold, the beads used from Bayroneri. Nog may not get the kill, but at the very least has really opened the door for slaaaaaasH to do some work here with Fear No Evil.
Yeah, and it's one of the easiest gods to punish somebody that has no beads in Hun bots, where as long as you can hit this, the size of the sun circle, you can kill somebody with it. So hope to see slaaaaaasH kill, especially now that he's 5. But something that I kind of want to touch on that we've already seen is this rotation prowess that Janus has and how I expect Nog to play this Janus, where last game he was farming and he wanted to go to 20. He wanted to play that one-shot cuckoo style, get to that late game. Janus isn't really the same type of character at all as a cuckoo. There's early pressure with as soon as you get this Chronos Pendant online, which is going to be his first item, he's going to have a ton of rotation prowess, good clear, good farming potential. And then looking at the opposite side, Bayroneri's playing the exact same style as he was in game 1. He's not wanting to fight. He wants to hit 20 and then be this absolute menace in team fights like he was in the first game. But that is going to be like a little bit of a dichotomy here between these comps where the mid laner on one side wants to permafight and roam and rotate, and the other one wants to farm.
RelentlessOne and Delnyyy trading ultimates as these junglers are pretty much making it their permanent home here in the solo lane. The other one of the solo laners was really able to take down enough. Look at Geno, though, on the left-hand side, falling into red health as in goes Migiiiiii. No ultimate yet. Beads forced. slaaaaaasH sends out the Fear No Evil and is out of mana. You kind of cocked your head a little quizzically there.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. slaaaaaasH ult and he's out of mana. There's really no reason for Migiiiiii to even beads there, so I think he was just a little bit worried. Maybe he didn't notice slaaaaaasH had no mana to follow up, because that could have just been a great play by Migiiiiii. Trading ultimates, gets the beads also on slaaaaaasH, and beyond that, slaaaaaasH uses ult there where we just touched on Puch using beads in mid. There's no opportunity to kill now with this Humbat's ult because the Puch beads are up in 50 seconds. So that would have been a huge play for Migiiiiii. Unfortunately, he does trade his beads, so it's not like the biggest play.
The Wardens do have their finger on the pulse for buff respawns, though. And the Aaru Scorpions blue buff drops for the second time here to the Kaolin Wardens, stripped away once again. The Wardens also secured their own blue buff, so currently 100% control as Opwash, no beats, still looking at the target here and going very low, going and gone. As Nog puts the finishing touches on the Opwash, still managing to get punished despite the Fear No Evil not being available.
Yeah, and just the CC that this Kaolin Warden team's comps have. Like Maui, if you don't have beads, Maui punishes very well. He's got the stun in the jump, he's got the pull in the 1, he's got the pull in the ultimate. He didn't even have the ultimate available there either. Same with slaaaaaasH, but there's still just enough CC in the base kit from him, from the Hunbots, and from the Janus to be able to pick up Bayroneri and kind of put him down, because so far, Nog is level 9 at 6 minutes. On the opposite side, just ticking over to level 8 is Bayroneri. That mid lane that I was talking about, this is kind of what it comes down to. There's a lot more pressure on the map for the Wardens because of what Nog is able to do.
So what's the spiral looking like for Bayroneri? And what I mean by that is some characters, when they get behind, essentially become pointless in the game, right? They're no longer playable. Is that the case for the Opwash, or does the Puch bring something else that even if you're a little bit behind, you can still contribute?
Yeah, Puch is one of those characters that does enough, I think, even if he is behind. There is, like, a level that he could hit that he is so useless and his damage is so low that he's going to do nothing. But even if he is, you know, a level behind Nog, half a level, even a level and a half, the ultimate is such a big threat with the anti-heal on top of the damage that you rarely want to walk through that field. And I think that's something that it doesn't matter if he's down, if he's even with the enemy jungler. He's still going to be the threat because of just the utility of Puch's kit. Slows, sustain. He's going to be a pretty hard character to deal with if he has relics available. And then on top of that, the safety of Khepri allows Puch to kind of play a little bit more forward, look for a little bit more plays, because he has that safety of the Scarab's Blessing.
Kaolin Wardens nursing about a 900,000-ish, and call it 800 gold lead here. And the only reason I pointed out, normally I wouldn't even mention it if it was 3 digits, but at 8 minutes, a gold lead compared to game number 1 is monumental, as the Kaolin Wardens want to continue to punish this right-hand side. Grouping up as 3, forcing out RelentlessOne. Stun a little off the mark there from ELLEON. But the Wardens got what they came for, which is the blue buff. ELLEON probably not going to pay for it here. And once again, the Kaolin Wardens dedicating a lot of resources. This is going to be a solo in mid lane. Nog a little bit off the mark, but guess who's here to follow up? It's going to be Slash. Fear No Evil getting in range. Geno here for the Scarab's Blessing as well. Jumps over the root. Fear No Evil down. Scarab's Blessing in return. Bayroneri. That's a smart play. Hitting the Gold Fury just to respawn. Shell out as well, and this is just a chase of like how many mechanics can you exploit until Puch either lives or dies, and Bayroneri is going to come out on top.
And that was also like the dance or the chase music of chasing him through the entire lane from mid to left side, and you get a lot of relics used out there, a lot of relics, abilities, beads, Aegises, a lot of stuff used, and actually an ult into the air. Migiiiiii
up into the air, but immediately falls back down into 3 members of the Kaolin Wardens. No Scarab's Blessing, which we used earlier. Tubahh low, ELLEON low, Slash low, and out of mana. It is a feast here from the Aaru Scorpions. ELLEON trying to create a little space for the ADC. Not going to work, though, as GuyJ finishes off the lane opponent there. And Aaru Scorpions, I mean, they saw 10 low health targets, and they were just licking their chops at which ones they wanted to chase down.
Yeah, all of them were under 100 health, but unfortunately they're only able to pick up Tubahh. And I think that comes down to how both of these teams have been playing the early portion of this game. The Kaolin Wardens have kind of let Tubahh just be all by himself in the dual lane side of the map. And because of that, he's actually down 20 stacks, on this Dev's Gloves. He's down, like that in itself is a lot of power. He's down a level. And then you compare it to what the Wardens have kind of been doing to play this game. They've been playing around solo lane. So when the fight kind of dissolves into the left jungle, that is just going to be heavily in favor of the Scorpions. And I think that is a mistake by the Wardens because they kind of look to chase that out. And I think if you're playing towards solo side of the map, unless your solo laner is rotating, if you put all this resources into getting him ahead, that's the side you should be playing into until he actually looks for that rotation.
With such a comfortable lead here in the duo lane, do you foresee that transitioning into Gold Fury fights or maybe rotating into the middle lane? I mean, how is that tangibly going to affect the left side of the map as Migiiiii's rotating in onto Tubahh, who's got no beads, no ultimate? That Sash connecting would have probably meant the end of Tubahh, but a nice combat roll away there.
Sorry, what was your question? I got distracted by that fight.
How is that lead in the left side of the lane that you mentioned in duo? How is that going to translate to things like the Gold Fury?
It just means that if the solo laners don't rotate, it should be in favor of the Scorpions because you just have an outright lead in the ADC role. However, if you're the Wardens, obviously you want to try to get Delnyyy to rotate to this fight. He's going to have the Genjis, he's going to have the breastplate combo faster. Tubahh no beads available, but there's really nobody else here to help Migiiiiii.
Migiiiiii doesn't have a ton of itemization online, and Migiiii's in a brutal spot here. Fear No Evil. Migiiiii goes immediately back in with the Sash, taking out Tubahh. Final shot from the auto attack chain there, putting the hurt on the ADC, who's fallen for a second time. in this game. Bayroneri did use the ultimate. That is a lot of space control down the drain. Gold Fury getting started up, and some big-time crits already coming out here from the jungler, ELLEON. Now the target CC'd, pulled back in, able to swing away, solar swing back in, and a portal by nnog. That was nice communication there from the mid-support combination. Scorpions likely to grab this objective, but not completely for free, as Slash is here. No ultimate available. nnog blinking in. The Scorpions take out the Gold Fury and are paying for it. The Wardens, that is, paying for contesting the Scorpions on that objective.
And what a pretty close fight, I think. It almost at multiple points during that fight, you could have seen the Scorpions just outright winning it, or the Wardens able to kind of bully them off of that Gold Fury. Unfortunately for the Wardens, this duo side of the map is just so far behind, and nnog kind of gets forced out there. He's not able to play up with that Janus ult, a lot of that safety. And now Gold Fury down, Beacon down, a lot of pressure in left. Guys up 3 levels. Kind of snowballing out of control for the left side of the map. The only bright side is still Delnyyy has almost a lead, or a level and a half lead over RelentlessOne right now. So that Pyro's the next thing that's up. You need to get Delnyyy to this fight. If you don't, it could get even worse, and the Scorpions could push their lead up to 3K.
We know what happens with a misstep in the later stages of the game, though. I mean, this is 13 minutes. I'm not going to try to prophesize what's going to happen in another 20 minutes. But if the Kaolin Wardens are able to extend this game out, their team composition has a similar vibe as the last game. I mean, really, they only replaced 2 members, the jungler and the mid laner, and they both scale just about as well as the last jungle and mid laner did in game number 1. And obviously, we know the outcome of that contest, as once again, you want to guess what just happened? Yes, in fact, the Kaolin Wardens take away yet another blue buff from poor RelentlessOne, who is just getting abused over here on the right-hand side. ELLEON, the target of the SASH, and the Abduct, which is just a nasty CC combination, but a nice portal in response, going to hit the brakes on the Scorpions.
And so far, still pretty even if we're considering the 3-level lead over in duo. I keep seeing it, and I just keep having to bring it up because a 3-level lead at 13 minutes is pretty insane. Yes, it takes Tubahh getting 1 kill, kind of bringing him back into the game. But for now, especially if these fights keep getting forced on this left side of the map, I mean, huge favor for the Scorps.
I love watching Migiiiiii go in aggressively here. When in game number 1, it was a little more passive as Migiiiiii smacking away at ELLEON in the air, immediately falls back down into a Fear No Evil and a Tubahh ultimate combination. And it really didn't do too much damage. I mean, you really only see a stacked Dev's Gloves and an Executioner online here for Tubahh. So those Astral Arrows aren't going to be connecting as solidly as the ADC would like.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to point out right now, because the Rama in last game was ahead or even for most of the game, and so that ult was actually doing a lot of damage. Right now, Tubahh has 2 points at best into his ultimate, and that is not going to be doing any damage, especially when the Khepri with this double aura build that he's going into with Bayroneri and GuyJ usually going to be around him. So Tubahh's going to have to farm up this game. There's not a big win condition right now for the Wardens on that side of the map. Tubahh needs 10 minutes minimum to try to get into a point where he can actually be effective in these fights.
Pyromancer getting kicked off here by the Scorpions, who think better of it. ELLEON able to solar swing away. And I got to ask GuyJ, take a look at the build. Is that a misclick or calculated?
I would say misclick. I think he just thought he didn't have Exy or something.
Delnyyy dashes away there, has to burn the beads as well. That's something for nothing there for the Scorpions, who have turned their sights to the Pyromancer. RelentlessOne and Delnyyy once again trading ultimates back and forth. That's a Scorpion, not a Scorpion, a Scarab, rather. Well, I guess both pulled back in, but not much to it. As the Scarab's blessing is used, ELLEON still the target here, and portals back in to the Scorpions. Don't know if that was on purpose or not, but luckily there's a couple more portals getting the support out of dodge there. Pyromancer does go down inevitably, but at least this time the Wardens aren't going to trade lives for it.
And such a risky play there by the Wardens to actually take that 4v5 fight on that Pyro. If they lose that fight, completely different game, but they get the Pyro, I think. And they actually have a small lead right now.
Here, 1 tower is going to fall, so the Scorpions immediately rectifying that and making us look like liars there as Tubahh gets sashed on. And look at that, you got a Fury online here immediately for the Scorpions to rotate to. And as you mentioned, you lose an objective on one side of the map, there's more bodies on that side, immediately head over to the other side and take advantage of the lack of protection on the map. Scorpions answer back with a tier 1 tower and a Fury, and just barely recapture a gold lead.
And as you said, it's kind of just trades at this point. Same thing we saw in that game 1. Neither team, actually, I think it's unfair to say that neither team really wants to fight back. I think we've seen a few fight backs in this game. It's just nobody's really getting taken down. A lot of safety on the team for the Wardens with this Janus, and some really nice placed ults to get his team kind of out of danger with Nog. Yes, the ult's not really hitting too many enemies, not really doing a ton of damage, but they're more using Janus right now as that utility mage to kind of rotate his team around the map.
Biggest play on the map right now, though, as GuyJ just ticks over to level 16. The 15-11 lead cut now 16-14, and it's just barely by 2 levels. I mean, Tubahh's going to level up to 15 in a couple of waves and immediately going to knock down that lead to just 1. We saw a 4-level lead shrink, so credit to Tubahh for getting that disparity a little bit tighter there in the duo lane.
He's actually got a nice freeze on the left side of the map also, so if GuyJ does want to come there, he's got to go all the way up to the tier 2 just to get a wave. And Tubahh's got about 2.5 waves there of farm available, so he should tick over to 15 any second now, and he's actually still got another, like 10 minions to go. He's almost even right now.
Big proponent of freezing the map. I don't think we see it enough in 100%. Competitive level play. I mean, it's such a safe way to farm so effectively. It's just a matter of patience. As Delnyy's going to be the target, I mean, completely caught out here. It's going to be a matter if the Thunder Crash successfully goes off or not. What a fear no evil there from Slash, saving the life of his solo laner, at least for a moment, as Bayroneri doesn't even really land any. It's just a tick damage there from the corpses at that point, finishing off the solo laner. But wow, Slash doing the utmost there on the Hun boss to try to get Delnyyy out of danger. Immediately, the Aaru Scorpions are translating the personnel difference into a fire giant, but it's actually a bait, as Tubahh is going to be the next target, driven out of the fight and being chased down here by RelentlessOne.
And as you said, Tubahh's just the target. He's just getting bullied out at this point. No fire giant. They just want to pick up some kills. And with ELLEON and Slash still a little bit out of position, maybe a couple more go down before they actually back up to this fire giant. But the entire time, Nog pushing down middle, gets the tier 1, gets a few waves. He is staying even. Delnyy's still ahead. But if you look at the map as a whole, it's all Scorpions right now.
I mean, you look at the gold lead and it almost feels like the Scorpions should be way further ahead than the Kaolin Wardens, but still somehow, I guess, chalk it up to macro play. The Kaolin Wardens holding on to a tight lead there. A Slash almost certainly going to fall here, just straight up caught out by the enemy jungler after a nice 1v1 there in the middle lane. Fire Giant to fall as well. Nog in the back line has ultimate, but is being chased around by RelentlessOne, just creating space. Delnyyy, Scorpions take out the Fire Giant.
And a little bit closer than probably the Scorpions wanted. Delnyyy was there, able to put some damage onto it. Migiiiiii, no ult available, playing a little bit farther up than he should maybe. He goes back in.
Than expected here with that hammer online, because Geno and RelentlessOne are here. Geno, especially with that Scorpion's blessing. I can hear the comms already. Go in, I got you. Go in, I got you. You're good, you're good, you're good.
Yeah, and I think it's got to be that, because the confidence Migiiiiii had to be able to turn to go back and get another beads down on Delnyyy. And now you look at how this siege is looking to go. I mean, 3K lead for the Scorpions. But another sash from Migiiiiii hits Delnyyy. He is dead before he hits the ground, and I think that's something we have to kind of keep our eyes on. Migiiiiii has 2 available enemies to kill at this point because they don't have beads. And on top of that, wow, okay, that was a lot closer than I expected. Nog gets out barely, but also no beads available on ELLEON too, so that's 3 actually targets that Migiiiiii has to kind of just one-shot.
Guy finishing off those couple items that he had started off with, goes the dominance first and is now backtracking a little bit in the build to knock off the next item in that sequence. And the Scorpions finally have claimed themselves a slight goal lead here. Stygian Beacon back online. Same thing goes for the Primal Fury as well. Not even going to be sniffed at here by the Kaolin Wardens, who have relegated themselves to pure defense mode. Migiiiiii just in the back line, like hovering around the tier 2, trying to solo down the support. ELLEON, no big deal. I mean, Geno's close enough, and Migiiiiii, I mean, doesn't have the ultimate anymore, but Geno's just close enough where there's some security there with the Scarab's Blessing. And if you're playing around the Scarab's Blessing, I mean, 3 or 4 times we've seen so far, the Scorpions really abuse just the threat of the ultimate, not even using it. So if you're the Wardens inbound, how are you responding in kind to that ability being available on the map?
I mean, you have to force it out. I think that's like a problem that a lot of teams have where, oh, they have Khepri ult, they could use it here. You have to get it out. Otherwise, there's always just going to be that threat where you cannot kill anyone because they always have the potential for Khepri ult. So at a point, somebody has to go in and say, yo, let's play for Khepri ult here. Let's Hunbat's ult the beads and try to get beads on RelentlessOne. Maybe try to force out Khepri ult here. But you have to force out the Khepri ult to make the Khepri less threatening.
Kaolin Wardens going to just watch as their tier 2 tower in the middle lane falls. Scorpions taking advantage all across the map. A little bit of lax defense here from the Wardens. Nnog trying to trade a tier 2 back and does so successfully in the solo lane. Delnyyy and ELLEON pressing forward here. Looking at this rather immobile Bayroneri. Nice hook there. ELLEON's been on point with this Maui. Pulling targets in from the Scorpions. Nothing to it as Bayroneri is able to just walk away. But I like the call there from the Kaolin Wardens, taking out that tier 2. At the very least, you're pulling the Scorpions' attention away from the 2 remaining towers in solo.
And again, it's funny. We're 22 minutes into this game, and it's still just trades happening on the map. The Wardens see that they don't have a great fight under tier 2, so they opt to push the opposite side of the map. Nnog gets another tier 1, another tier 2, and 3k gold at 22 minutes is very little. If we're talking about them trying to defend the tier 2s, they're not getting the gold from the tier 1 in mid, they're not getting the tier 2 in mid. And Delnyyy maybe caught out in right lane because everyone's rotating over here.
Yeah, this is a brutal spot. The solo laner is dead to rights. It's just a matter of which auto attack is going to finish him off. It's going to be Bayroneri's for the second time in a row. Is that a misplay? Is that mispositioning from Delnyyy, or was there an appropriate reason to be down there? We'll finish that conversation in a moment here as Migiiiiii is the target of some aggression from the Wardens, who do finish off the jungler. Big time pickup there and evens out the personnel from 4 to 4. Woohoo! Tubahh blown up there. The corpse explosion from this outwash paying dividends here at 23.5 minutes. ELLEON would love to keep the fight rolling on here, but Tubahh and Nnog are like, oh, dude, chill out. We're going to farm.
And this entire time, slaaaaaasH is getting another tier 2 tower in mid. So one team had Fire Giant, has only gotten 5 towers, no Phoenixes. The other team has had 0 Fire Giants and has gotten 5 towers and 0 Phoenixes. So even though the Wardens are losing fights, every single team fight or fight has been in the Scorpions' favor. Like you said, the macro that the Wardens are kind of playing with is keeping this game within an arm's reach. I mean, pretty soon, XP's not going to matter. Gold still is going to matter for a little bit longer, but we're almost at that level 20 mark where the XP just isn't there as a point of contention.
I mean, checking out these builds here, everything's pretty much parity across the board. Delnyy's looking all good. slaaaaaasH would love to finish off that starter item. Same thing goes for Tubahh. Sell those gooseberries and buy a last item of power. I mean, the thing that's really the sore thumb in these builds is ELLEON really struggling to find that last item before the recipe goes the way of the trash can there and you pick up a real item, quote-unquote real item, to finish off the build. ELLEON scrapping here with Geno. Scarab's Blessing is online.
A lot of damage.
Take enough damage. Oh. Through space and time, not enough to take down the bug, but at the very least does force the support back.
With that Compassion being finished, probably just enough magical defense to live the pull from ELLEON. Because right now, most of the Warden damage is coming through magical. Tubahh's still not in a great spot. He's getting better, but a lot of the damage is in those magical gods. And we have the Fire Giant getting pulled, but Khepri's not even here.
Clearing wave in the middle lane. That tells me the Scorpions aren't really trying to keep it on the Fire Giant. Maybe a heat check here from the team who are looking to claw this to a third game in this best of 3. ELLEON sashed in, sit up in the air. What kind of follow-up do the Scorpions have on the support? Plenty. Able to get away for the moment there. A nice counter engagement from slaaaaaasH is going to split this fight in half. Beads are down, Leap is down, might be in a tough spot here. It's going to be up to Nnog to get the jungler out, or
he's
the support
out.
Just barely makes it over the wall there. Delnyyy in a rough spot as well now. The Kaolin Wardens somehow surviving that full-on engagement there from the Scorpions, who are in a much healthier spot. Tubahh up in the air, RelentlessOne. 1 shot, 2 shots, the 3rd shot on the mark, but Geno with a clutch shell keeping the solo laner alive.
They're actually getting so low, and Nnog actually has ult available here. They're looking to commit to the Fire Giant. Scorpions get it, but on the backside, Tubahh picks up RelentlessOne. They get the Fire Giant, but it looks like just RelentlessOne is down. Unless...
Oh, you mentioned a big ultimate there from Nog is going to annihilate Geno, taking him down. No blessing for you, sir, as Tubahh's able to escape. GuyJ's in a brutal position. Slash capitalizes. Fire Giant goes to the Scorpions, and immediately 3 members pay the price. Only Migiiiiii and Bayroneri benefiting from that play. And this is exactly shades of game number 1 here. Slash is looking much healthier than on the Thanatos as Bayroneri chucks out the ultimate to create space. Migiiiiii takes advantage of Nog falling low, and Delnyyy just has to watch on as only 2 members of the Scorpions is enough to send the Wardens packing from their Phoenix line.
And Bayroneri throwing out some spam laughs there, some taunts, trying to get him to go back in. Migiiiiii actually misses the ult. Bayroneri kind of just not able to follow up to Migiiiiii. Aegis is used, but Slash has that ult available. Mantle.
It's a bait. I mean, it is just a bait. Migiiiiii pulled back in. A couple auto attacks to at least try to make the death work. It pad the damage stats a little bit. A nice bait there from the Kaolin Wardens, and a little bit tougher from the Scorpions who actually fall for it.
It was just a weird play by the Scorpions there. Yeah. Yes, the Fire Giant, unfortunate, 3 of you died. But Migiiiiii still got Fire Giant on him, and they look to take a 2v4 before the rest of the team spawns with the Fire Giant on the 2. And if you miss that ult as Migiiiiii misses the ult, there's just no kill potential there. Now Geno's caught out. Little sloppy play in the last couple minutes by both of these teams.
Geno trying to create space to allow his squad to do the Gold Fury. I mean, Slash or either Tubahh is going to chase this one down. Shell used as well. Finishing touches go to Tubahh. Guy turns it around, though, and takes out Delnyyy in the middle lane. In the meantime, Bayroneri is caught between 3 now. You're right. This is play. Alternate timeline coming up huge for Bayroneri. Gets yanked back in, though. Aegis down for the mid laner, ELLEON. GuyJ with a 3-piece, though.
What is happening?
Kaolin Wardens. Nog's back in the game. Use the ultimate to get in position. RelentlessOne and Migiiiiii, the only surviving members of the Scorpions, and a strange fight there from the Aaru Scorpions, starting with Geno just walking into 3.
How are you even play-by-play casting that? So many things are happening, 3 different fights in different spots. It was just weird all around by both teams because they're just fighting now. We talk about the first 20 minutes was them avoiding fights and taking trades, and nowadays we're taking fights anywhere we can, even if we're down 2-4.
Inbound, rewind with me to Geno playing, I wish I could ping the map, playing up near the green buff to create room for the rest of the Scorpions to do the Gold Fury. I mean, in what universe is playing that deep necessary for a Fury at 27 minutes or whatever it was?
You got me there. I don't understand the reason for a lot of things in the past couple minutes. It's almost like both teams kind of just wanted to get to a point where they both just fight because they both feel strong. Everyone feels strong when they hit level 20. And so now we've seen both these teams hit level 20, and now it's just these constant fights are breaking out. Geno's feeling comfortable enough, tanky enough to walk up really far. On the opposite side of things, Delnyyy walks up really far around the Gold Fury when they're chasing out Geno, and he gets killed. And so far, past 3 minutes has been just super sloppy play. But now we're back to just an even game state again, even though we've seen 5 different fights in the past 3 minutes.
12-10, 80-76. It's 30 minutes. Who cares? We're approaching that kind of territory as Tubahh's finishing off the last crit in their build. ELLEON is taking that cloak and throwing it over the shoulders as well. Fire Giant's coming back online. Sure, the Scorpions grab Pyromancer, put one of those coveted bombs in their pocket. The Wardens take a Primal Fury as well. Stygian Beacon gonna go the way of the Scorpions here in just a moment. But I mean, you're dead on. It's an even game state as both these squads are pretty much in parity here. And we're back to the game 1 situation where one big team fight's gonna break this thing open. And Phoenixes will fall and maybe even the Titan. Woo! ELLEON getting chunked out there to kick things off. They want RelentlessOne and they want him bad. Pulling it Bayroneri, who's caught in a brutal spot there. Nice shell onto 3 though from the support and a hug onto ELLEON. Tubahh forced out, is not gonna be able to connect with those auto attacks. Just far too low to play forward. Guy wants to keep the party going here. Hops off the horse, is safe for the moment.
Nog?
ELLEON, plenty of mobility, but Nog is deleted by Bayroneri Slash
The
trying
ult!
to return it, and instead gets taken up into the air. 2 members gone for nothing for the Kaolin Wardens. We might be staring down a game 3, or at the very least, a Fire Giant.
An EFG for the Scorpions. They have 5 strong, still have about 40 seconds before we even talk about the siege. What is happening? That is a 4v4. Both junglers are in base, and they're both just walking up. And the Wardens don't have this huge opening. They just walk into the enemy's jungle, and then they all just try to peel each other out instead of just taking the death where it's supposed to happen. Nog dies because he's willing to kind of put himself out of position to try to save his team. And now we have 5 EFG strong pushing down right.
Delnyyy, ultimate, ELLEON, ultimate, Tubahh auto attacks in hand. Pretty much the only thing preventing the Scorpions from taking us to game number 3. As the right side Phoenix falls, the middle Phoenix falls. Left hand to fall,
Slowing him.
hand fall. As it's not, I mean, it's bought enough time at the very least for the Wardens to regroup here. Slash is back
Migiiiiii?
online. Nog's in the fight as well. Migiiiiii falling low. Same thing goes for Tubahh, though. Phoenix is going to fall on the left-hand side. Astral Barrage finds its home. Migiiiiii falls for the next 60 seconds. The Kaolin Wardens may have something cooking here.
The EFG will be able to sustain him up a little bit. Seems like the Wardens slowly chasing out. RelentlessOne is starting his back, channeling it, got it off. But the rest of the 3 might be caught out here with the 5 Kaolin Wardens chasing him down.
Oh, Bayroneri caught. Guy caught as well. Quarter HP. Delnyyy has made the rotation as well. Bayroneri. Oh, they have to wait. Scareb's Blessing buying enough time. But the Kaolin Wardens are patient.
Is
Will
ELLEON
wait
dead?
out the timer there. ELLEON might
Lived.
fall for it. No, is able to survive. Nog wants to keep this thing going, though. Those portals have been on point. The mobility, like you mentioned, from the Janus, paying dividends here for the Kaolin Wardens. 2 fall, Migiiiiii and Bayroneri. So at the very least, the Kaolin Wardens have driven back the Aaru Scorpions. But man, they've lost every single firebird for it.
Yeah, now not in a great spot are the Wardens. As you said, all 3 Phoenixes down. EFG for still another 2 minutes, but it's only on 3. A bunch of map stuff coming up. Pyro, Oni Fury. And at this point, the Scorpions, this is kind of their game to win or lose now. They are in such a powerful and stronger spot than the Wardens where they have to make a mistake to actually lose out on this game.
Ooh, ELLEON's going to get chunked
Nog?
down. It's late game, and that is an ADC. Pulled back in, though. GuyJ might be in a tough spot. No horse to hop onto. Aegis down. Immediately, Delnyyy goes into the barrels, chucking him out.
They killed him.
Huge fear, no evil. Splits this fight down the middle. Geno low. Same thing goes for Migiiiiii. Off the mark with the Windfire Wheels. That could spell curtains here for the juggler as the Kaolin Wardens take advantage of a misplay here by the Scorpions. It's RelentlessOne between 4, but has tons of damage online. ELLEON
Look at the Titan.
is going to die here to the solo laner. A trade 2 for 3. The Kaolin Wardens still on top.
And the Titan is actually down to 1/3 health. That they could have maybe stopped a back or 2. Another wave would have been able to push in. But I mean, even then, that was looking like a massive, massive win for the Wardens. They still have 3 Phoenixes that are dead that they have to deal with waves, fire waves that are going to be pushing in. And actually, it's even going to be worse than that. They have an Oni fire wave pushing in right on this next spawn. Pyro is available. And with how low this Titan is, Puch is a threat to kill the Titan by his ultimate lonesome. There's no other damage that needs to be in there. Someone just needs to be tanking the Titan, and the Puch will be able to kill it. So the Wardens still are not out of the clear. They're not in the clear yet. There's so many things that they have to do, and they have to do right to be in a position to actually win this game.
Man, the play that keeps flashing in my mind over and over is Migiiiiii just a little bit off the mark with that nnog ultimate, the Windfire Wheels. I mean, at this level of competitive play, we so rarely think about mechanics because these players just hit their stuff.
Yep.
Like at this level, the SPL level, mechanics are kind of an afterthought. It's more about the macro and the strategy. But there, we show why SMITE is such a mechanical game. That one Windfire Wheels might have turned the fight on its head. Instead, Scorpions on the back foot, but longer as they've respawned as 5. Entire squad marching down the middle lane here. Phoenix is due to respawn, but that Titan is so low. as you mentioned, it could be a full-on dive here from the Scorpions. Might just want to take the fight.
Delnyyy
falling so low to those long-range autos from Guy.
Bayroneri?
Pull back in on Bayroneri. Landfall cutting the team down. Bayroneri falling. Bayroneri to fall, but takes out Slash. In the meantime, the alternate timeline once again keeps the mid laner alive, and he's got a third life with the Scarab's Blessing. How obnoxious here for the Kaolin Wardens to deal with, as Delnyy's going to be forced out. RelentlessOne not taking down the Scorpions.
Guy?
Flooding into the base here of the Kaolin Wardens, and that is a sting into the Kaolin Wardens. No, Tubahh finds 3, but no. Kaolin Wardens will fall. The Scorpions drag us to a game number 3 here.
And what a hectic last 10 minutes. I mean, another first 25 minutes, the game is just even, trades across the map. Yes, fights were going in the Scorpions' favor, but the macro play by the Wardens was phenomenal. But then we hit this 26-minute mark, and it's just fighting everywhere, whenever they could, any fight they can take. And it's the Scorpions kind of winning out, getting that EFG after that one fight, and then getting a bunch of Phoenixes down. It's just, the Wardens just got too far behind towards the end of that game. With all those Phoenixes down, it was just too hard to come back from.
Kaolin Wardens really needing to lock in that strategy and patience for a hard-fought game number 3 coming at you in just a sec.
Please come to my rescue. I was caught up in your landscape. But please tell me, now what am I supposed to do? I was caught up in your landscape. You don't know me the way that I know you. Tell me what you like. There's nothing wrong with that. Trippy, yeah, we all lose track. I wouldn't mind it if I find it. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't have to be an acrobat. I wouldn't mind it. Should I find it? There's nothing wrong with that. Trippy, yeah, we all lose track. I wouldn't mind it if I find it. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't have to be an acrobat. I wouldn't mind it. Should I find it? So that's how it's gonna be. There'll be no more second chances. So that's how it's gonna be. There'll be no more second chances. Let it all go away. There'll be no more second chances.
Hey, listen up, I've tried to tell you this 100 times. Not getting better by lying there pretending to cry. You on repeat, you can see, cause you have closed your eyes. You say you listen, but you're missing what it's all about. Rise up now. If you never fall, you don't change at all. Cry out now. Have you given up? I will never stop, yeah. I try to help you, but you keep reading between the lines. There's nothing there for you to complicate, we're not aligned. You say you listen, but guessing that's just another sign of growing up. You're growing old, your life keep passing. Rise up now. If you never fall, you don't change at all. Cry out now. Have you given up? I will never stop, yeah.
The Aaru Scorpions pulling out all the stops here in game number 2 to tie up the set and now send us to a game number 3, tying up here against the Kaolin Wardens. And Mifflin, this game really felt like it was a very simple checkbox and checklist for the Aaru Scorpions. Is Bayroneri alive on Opwash? If yes, team fight looks to be going pretty well. If not, might be going a bit south.
You know, my checklist might be even more simple. Is Khepri nearby? If yes, fight's going to go pretty good. If no, well, maybe you might be able to find a kill, because it's something I picked on that Bobby was talking about as well. Some of these teams are just a little bit unwilling to force exchanges when Khepri is nearby. You got to get through that Scarab's Blessing. You can either do it in draft, but get through it by drafting an execute, or you got to do it on field by forcing it. I wasn't seeing quite enough of that from the Kaolin Wardens. And it's a two-pronged issue there, I think, for the Wardens. First prong, their composition didn't exactly have great follow-up on Hunbot's ultimate. Fear No Evils were hitting massively. I remember one where he was peeling out, making sure that Delnyyy was able to walk out of a situation. Didn't exactly get him too far out of there, but it was a good attempt. But when you have something like a Janus on your side, or even a Ram, I mean, auto attacks are pretty decent. Janus has got, you know, that one ability that's pretty all right, but you haven't got that massive follow-up that you'd expect for something like that huge CC that Hunbot brings for himself. And because there was that lacking of damage on the Wardens, it felt like, for the most part, Geno was allowed to stand nearby and just say, well, I mean, Scarab's Blessing is great and all, but I don't exactly need to use it here.
I think this fight really here exaggerated how annoying it is to fight not just the Puch, but Puch when a Khepri and an alternate timeline are on your side. Bayroneri gets pulled into the middle of 3. He says, okay, well, that's exactly what I want to be. Drops empty the crypts, and they kill him. Well, they thought they did. And then alternate timeline procs. Then what does he do? Pop Aegis as soon as timeline is done, and then a Khepri ult on top of him to make sure that he still does not go down. And just extended that life bar a little bit longer, kept that damage output there. And really, we've seen a lot of teams really struggle to fight against this Khepri. It really does. And this is at almost all levels of play. We even see it in the SPL when players like Genetics picks up this pick. It is hard for teams to really play around this one single pick.
Yeah, I mean, the answers, the proposed answers have been out there for years now, since Khepri came out. It's always been, should we just go to the Achilles? Do we just need a Thanatos? Is that the answer? Genetics, I talked to him about it. I was like, Genetics, are you worried about that? You know, you've been playing a lot of Khepri recently. Are you concerned that maybe someone's just going to draft and execute and blow up your spot? And he said, executes don't work against my Khepri. So maybe there is something out there that we just haven't quite seen that could even further compound the issues that Khepri brings to compositions. But I think, to me, the answer is simple. Draft a composition that can fight frequently and has more than one threat in it. And I only saw the one consistent threat, and it was the Fear No Evil. When that was down, there was really nothing else that could force it out.
Now let's see what adaptations get made for really both of these squads. We jump into game number 3 for the picks and bans. Kaolin Wardens on the first pick spot this time, so we can see what their top priority is here up against the Aaru Scorpions. We do see a Naja and an Opwash ban. I think after game 2 performance by Bayroneri, all right and respect for the Kaolin Wardens to ban that one away. Alongside the Kukulkan, opposite end, we do see the Athena, Chernobog, and Poseidon ban. And then a top pick Aphrodite. Now, we've seen a little bit of Aphrodite. We saw one game of it today. We saw a bit of it with EU. But to number 1 pick that when there's so many other picks out there, immediately to my eyes, I see the double mage Morgan Le Fay Thoth. Feels like the Aaru Scorpions are maybe fine giving up this pick.
Yeah, I mean, Afro in first slot is really weird. I mean, flexibility, but generally we're going to see it in support because of how some of the changes she had in the most recent years, giving over that defense share. You really want to itemize full tank on Aphrodite, so I mean, you got a little bit of that to lean into. Thanatos is a lock-in, going to dissuade the Khepri pick, so maybe we don't see that there for the Scorpions, but I couldn't exactly tell you what attracts them to Aphrodite first overall. It feels like there is just so much value on table, and other supports that you'd really want to put your eyes on, like the Yemoja. I feel like the Aaru Scorpions have been kind of gifted just an insane top 3.
Yeah, pretty strong first few picks out of here. I mean, Morgan Le Fay for solo lane has been kind of dominating over that role, has flexed to mid, but with how strong Thoth has been in the mid lane, I mean, so far as to where teams are willing to take that first pick and then just absolutely carry games with it. Maybe surprising that the Wardens give that one up. Hachiman is the next answer for the Aaru Scorpions, and they're a 4th selection. And then after a couple of jungle bans, a couple of mixed bans from the Scorpions, all of a sudden we're looking at a Sun Wukong for the Kaolin Wardens, and then an Ishtar. Not as surprising. For me, it's Aphrodite, Thanatos, Wukong. This feels like this is just the Kaolin Wardens playing gods that they enjoy playing.
And you know what? There's something to be said about that. There's certainly some value to playing your comfort picks, but there was just so much value on the table there that it is very surprising to see the Kaolin Wardens fall down to a composition like this. But what it does well, it does very well, and it's full-on engagements. I'm seeing a lot of dive potential between Thanatos and Sun Wukong. You've got a certain layer of safety afforded to both of those picks by being attached to the Aphrodite. Raijin is just a plug-and-play mage. It's going to fit into just about every single composition. And then Ishtar for long-range auto attacks, so you can kind of play that double backline Ishtar Raijin together to protect each other. But then I look at the other side, and I don't need to like stretch my brain to figure out what the Aaru Scorpions got going on. They just picked a lot of really good stuff and Serqet.
We got the 5th seed Wardens, the 3rd seed Scorpions. Who's going to come out on top in game number 3? To find out, we'll throw it back over to Dimes and Inbound for the game.
Rounding out this set is Dimes and Inbound. Thank you much, J-Mac and Mifflin. It's a game number 3 Inbound, which means, in my mind, it's essentially a best of 1, right? Like, sure, you've learned from games 1 and 2, but it's you know, your neck is on the line here in game number 3, and we're seeing a couple things that have been banned away. I mean, the Aphrodite sticks out to me, and the Thoth on the other side. You have the pick of the litter, Inbound. Wherever you want to start breaking this stuff down, I'll just jump in with you.
Yeah, I mean, we can start with the Aphrodite. I think the Aphrodite's strength has kind of shown itself a little bit more recently. I think in SPL, I think in EUSDC it wasn't played too much, but I think it has shown that it is still a very strong pick. And kind of like the Khepri, it throws or changes how you want to play the game. Aphrodite makes at least one person on the map unkillable. In laning phase, it is a very hard character to 2v2 against because she has infinite sustain and infinite mana almost. And so on top of that, late game she just keeps one of her characters, like a Khepri, permanently alive. It is very hard to kill through an Aphrodite, and a lot of the times you're just losing the fight anyway if Aphrodite either, you know, drops the ultimate, uses it in a bad spot, or you're just getting ran through and there's only you and the Aphro alive. But on top of that, it also just makes it so when there is only one engaged character, and this is in the same vein as Khepri, like that Serqet, it makes her job infinitely more hard, because if she goes onto one person, Aphrodite makes that one person, or Serqet doing that one job to kill that one person, impossible.
I think the power of this Thoth as we head into the mid lane is well cataloged at this point. So something I want to chit-chat with you about as Migiiiiii is joined the fray here on the left side of the map, securing the shield buff, is Delnyyy for the first time picking up this warrior into the solo lane instead of taking the Raijin over there, instead going into the hands of Nog. I mean, I've enjoyed Delnyyy piloting this Raijin. I think he's found pretty nice value, slash trying to make something happen on this Thanatos early game here under this relatively squishy mage. But I mean, what do you see? What sticks out to you about why Delnyyy and Nog might have traded picks here?
I think one thing that is a bit underrated when you start playing these warriors again after playing those mages is how much differently comps play with this mage versus the warrior in solo lane. There is a lot more aggression when you have this Wukong. You have the blink engage, you have a lot of survivability on the backline and a lot of damage. Comboing that with this Thana gives a lot of kill potential, but a fight happening in duo, Guy's
Frenzy
low.
popped. ELLEON taking tons of pokes. Same thing goes for Guy there. Tubahh. Nice body blocks from Geno, and ELLEON finishing off Guy with a back off there. Geno dodging the bird, stunned out by Tubahh. And a first blood 2v2 on the left side of the map. Not often we see those nowadays, as Delnyyy and slaaaaaasH able to successfully confirm their own blue buff and are looking for more.
A little bit of a chase out here. Seems like Migiiiii's just going to grab that, try to bring it to tower. A lot of damage onto RelentlessOne, but not enough. RelentlessOne does hit
Level
5, and he's actually looking for the trade.
Going back in on a level 4 slaaaaaasH and level 4 Delnyyy, who's able to escape successfully. Poison ticking, as you can see on the screen there, onto slaaaaaasH.
Blink
Migiiiiii
at
would
3.
love to go back in. Tons of damage. Nice dodge there from RelentlessOne. One scythe could make the difference. A knock-up from RelentlessOne and a rotation from Bayroneri. Could have been a shot there
Nog
from the mid laner. Instead holds on to the ultimate, but it's like a conveyor belt, one after the other. Everybody rolling in. Level 5 barrels over the wall. A low mana Serqet able to escape with their life. And after all of that, the Aaru Scorpions walk out with 1 kill and even this game up.
And so far, the Wardens dominating the duo side of the map. Unfortunately, ELLEON still has not gotten that back off, so he's still very, very low. But after that first blood, he's just trying to get that early Thebes online, which is going to be just a huge spike. He's going to get the Thebes a lot faster. Nog able to invade. Was that the red buff that Nog just stole?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nog just, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, it was.
Stripped it away. And there's that clean macro play we were talking about. I mean, you got to find an advantage no matter how kooky it is.
And getting that red buff, probably one of the hardest buffs, if not the hardest buff to invade and take away. But Nog, after that huge fight in the solo lane side of the map, able to get that away. Give a little bit of an early lead to this Wardens comp. And I think when you think about how the Wardens want to play this early portion, it really is just sending ELLEON and Tubahh to dual lane and just kind of pushing down Guy and Geno. Because this is a very strong 2v2 versus a somewhat strong 2v2. And I think both are very reliant on junglers. So I think both Migiiiiii and slaash's pathing and positioning and where they go is going to be very important. And probably something we need to keep an eye on for this early portion at least.
Bayroneri's got that dash, but
he has beats.
Using it, might be down. CC coming through.
He had beats.
And Nog with a long-range snipe there onto Bayroneri. Migiiiii's falling low as well. slaaaaaasH doesn't have the ultimate online, and Migiiiii's probably one of the most, if not the most, mobile assassin in the game. Scythe on the mark, but Migiiiiii able to dodge it out. Kaolin Wardens just, I mean, that CC chain in the middle lane, the combination of ELLEON and Nog was literally pitch perfect. Any little wiggle room and Bayroneri would have slid out of there.
And actually had the opportunity to kind of get out also if he wanted to use those beads, but maybe he thought the damage wasn't there or he could juke out the Raijin ult, but Nog doesn't miss those. We've talked about him enough. Myth was talking him on desk also. Nog doesn't miss. He runs the ranked queues at 3,500 MMR, and he'll run this game if you allow him to, just like we saw in Game 1. And so far, off to a nice little lead. Has that book, has that tier 1 Deso, or tier 1 Divine if he opts for that. Probably a Divine, I guess, with so much healing on the side of the Scorpions, but already off to a great lead is Nog.
Talk to me about the difference between the mid lane Raijin versus the solo Raijin, as ELLEON getting collapsed on here. Aaru Scorpions happy to just snag the ultimate from the Aphrodite and back off. No problem there. Nog a little bit off the mark with those percussive blasts. But talk me through the Raijin. Is the build going to change? How is the interaction with the rest of the map going to change with that transition?
Yeah, I mean, Raijin changes as a character completely in solo versus mid. Like, Morgan kind of plays somewhat the same. She looks kind of just harass, a lot of self-peel. But Raijin has genuine one-shot potential from mid with how much damage his ult does, his 1-2 combo. And in solo lane, it's not really there. It's mostly just harass. RelentlessOne caught on left, or right. A little bit more damage to get him an execute.
Up and down, RelentlessOne surviving the execute as it didn't go off. ELLEON using the ultimate as well. A nice 3-man shield. The poison spread onto 2 more. Not sure what more Migiiiiii can do with this. Unfortunate grouping there from the Kaolin Wardens as Slash is traded out for RelentlessOne. Is it fair to say Inbound as, hold on for a second, Tubahh not caught in the River's Rebuke, able to just dash away. Had used the ultimate though. GuyJ with the follow-up on the horse chooses not to do so. So action all across the map here. Inbound as there's a trade on the right-hand side.
And Wardens, nice little lead so far. We've talked about it before where their games, this set as a whole, the games don't really happen. Not too much happens pre-20 minutes. But we have about a 2K lead. And a lot of this is just kind of everywhere. We have a 2-level lead in support, a level lead in mid, a level lead in solo lane. And it seems like this early portion that the Warriors are going for, they are just happy to take fights. We've not seen them really want, I mean, early game, we haven't seen them want to take fights. We saw what happens when they want to take fights late game. They permafight, but early, they haven't really been doing it. But this game, they're really taking fights wherever they can, and they're kind of throwing their weight around.
The Aaru Scorpions have really adjusted their playstyle since game number 1, and it kind of hinges around Migiiiiii, right? The first game, you pick the Thor, looking for value, playing it slow. Second game, the nnog, you really speed it up a little bit, and then you pick the Serqet, hypermobile, high damage, one-shot potential, and so far 2-0-0. I mean, Migiiiiii owns every single kill so far for the Aaru Scorpions, and is continuing to just ratchet up both the damage and the speed of play. And everybody's kind of playing around how this Serqet and Migiiiiii as a whole has been playing, and you can really feel the shift in momentum when the Scorpions pick up a quicker composition.
Yeah, I think that's something that maybe we even missed out on, not giving Migiiiiii his flowers in that second game, because, I mean, we kind of beat a dead horse in game 1 where the Thor wasn't really doing much, just usually the ult for visuals and actually a fight and left.
Guy and Tubahh trading back and forth. Geno and ELLEON here for support as well. You got heals on both sides of the board. ELLEON with a little bit more in the tank. Geno and, or rather Guy and Tubahh are going to be A-okay here. Slash joining the rest of the crew just to make sure they're doing A-okay. But as you were saying, Inbound.
Yeah. About Migiiiiii. The game 1 we kind of talked about, his ult was just, basically he was just trying to get vision a lot of the times. Actually, another fight and left.
River's Rebuke goes off this time, catching Tubahh out with no ultimate to his name there. Nice shell, but a pull back in. Beautiful Riptide. Nice geometry there.
Nog?
Tubahh's able to dash away. Guess who's here, though? Nog and Slash made the rotation. A bait in. And
wow.
1 goes down, 2 goes down. Could be a 3rd death here for the Aaru Scorpions as Geno's caught between 3. Riptide in. Slash is not deterred at all. The Silence Scythe comes out in a double kill, goes the way of the Thanatos. Probably the last person the Aaru Scorpions wants to see pop up on the kill leaderboard. Gold Fury's the next target here for the Wardens. Absolutely no one from the Scorpions can take a look at this objective, going free to the Wardens, who are going to extend their gold lead quite heftily.
And really good kiting there by ELLEON and Tubahh to escape not just the Yemoja ult, the Serqet ult, the Hachiman damage. A lot of abilities need to be juked there. Big shell timing also. Enough time for Nog and Slash to actually rotate over. And Bayroneri did not opt to rotate also. There was no threat of the Thoth there at any point, so it ends up being a 4v3. And Tubahh ends up living that also. So on top of the 3-for-0 that the Wardens got, they also got the Gold Fury, giving them the nice early lead. And Guy not deterred, looking for the 1v1.
No ultimate online for Tubahh, so no lockdown. Guy able to horse out of there with the mounted archery. It seems like everybody has just decided this is an arena game now. Is Nog in a tough spot? Connection to ELLEON is good, though. Aphrodite ultimate available. Slash comes in out of nowhere with a dunk. Migiiiiii able to get out of there with a little zigzag and a leap away. Bayroneri might be in a tough spot. Scythe off the mark. So safe for the moment is the Thoth. You could see Geno rotating into the middle lane for backup as well. At 6-2 at 11 minutes, we already see more kills than we did in game number 1 in 30. minutes, and it's whether it's in the mid lane over a small objective or even these ADCs 1v1ing. I mean, the mentality has completely shifted for both of these squads.
Yeah, and it's not like these are big blowout fights where it's 5v2 or something where there's a big rotation. This is just scuffles everywhere on the map. 2v2s in duo, 2v2s in solo, 3v3s in solo, 3v3s in mid, and just fights everywhere. And now I kind of see why this Aphrodite got prio'd so hard. A part of every single kill so far has not died yet, has that breastplate online, has that Thebes online. So a lot of survivability and a lot of utility to his teammates right now. That's kind of who my eyes are on and who I'm going to be watching until we go to that late portion where, yes, Aphrodite is incredible in the late game. She keeps somebody alive, kind of allows them to be a 1v5 character. But Yemoja is just a different beast when it goes 20 minutes and she's full build.
Delnyyy ripping away RelentlessOne's buff, and the Kaolin Wardens have been relentless in their contention of the Scorpions' blue buff. Some swords out of Tubahh. It's going to scare away GuyJ long enough for the tier 1 tower to fall. River's Rebuke also used by Geno there. Looked to maybe separate a fight. Migiiiiii had ultimate online, but not too much follow-up there. So maybe just dissuading the Kaolin Wardens from stepping forward any more than they already had. And we're, 12, 13 minutes in, the power of this mid lane, Raijin, especially in the hands of Nog, has just been indeterminable. I mean, we've seen Nog make an impact in pretty much every side of the map so far.
Yeah, Nog, just like in game 2, looking to rotate and kind of fight early. Bayroneri kind of on a character that can do the same thing, but he's not opting for these rotations. He's actually opting to just kind of sit mid a lot of the times. And it's not like he's getting an XP advantage by sitting in mid. Nog actually has that level lead. And it's because he's getting a lot of kills, and Nog dashes in.
Nog is low. Has
Slash.
Shell, has the Aphrodite, tons of backup. Slash goes in and takes out Bayroneri. Scythe connects with a Bastion. Not Migiiiiii, who's able to, that was for sure going to go straight to the dome of the Serqet, as RelentlessOne is the target of Slash. Delnyyy is here with ultimate, with lockdown as well. Slash chipping away at RelentlessOne. Migiiiiii has joined the fray. Could be a big zigzag, big taunt. Migiiiiii is the recipient of a scythe to the face, and Delnyyy is able to walk away successfully.
Yeah, and I think Migiiiii's happy to go in a little bit more. That scythe doesn't hit him for almost half his health. Did so much damage, and at this point, a 2-level lead in jungle. Slash is doing a lot of damage, and this is something you said a little bit earlier, where a lot of what the Scorpions want to do is, for here they want to kill Geno, but Geno juking a lot out.
And locked down by Tubahh swords, Riptide able to keep the support alive. Bayroneri charging forward with some of the best clear in the game for my money. But I like the Kaolin Wardens stepping forward there. They saw an opportunity. They went for it. They didn't end up finding the kill, but at least we're seeing consistent attempts made here by the Kaolin Wardens. You can see them really trying to exert their influence and throw their weight around with this lead they have.
And then the opposite side, Scorpions really playing around Migiiiiii in the early portion, but Migiiiii's not been able to do too much since. He had that play in duo where it was the 3v2, Yemoja ult, Serqet ult, but Nog and Slash rotated and ended up picking him up. And since then, it's been all Wardens. They've got the kills, they've got the Gold Furies, the Pyros, they've picked up a few more kills here or there, and they've even got some towers, actually one tower, not some, just one tower. But the gold, not really moving too much, even if the Scorps are really not doing a ton, and the Wardens are still getting a lot done. Stayed at about this 4K pace for the past 5 minutes.
Oh, Nog locked down there by Migiiiiii, able to get the Thunder Crash off after the ultimate is applied. Might be a bit of a waste there by Migiiiiii, who sure forces out Nog, but without the follow-up, without stacking the poisons and applying the Serqet passive, which of course does damage based on how many poisons you've applied to the enemy target. That ultimate alone is not going to shred for too much with only 2 items online and level 13 here at 16 minutes. Brahma Furies respawn on the map. The Kaolin Wardens grouped as 4 with their solo laner still remaining in that solo island. Aaru Scorpions spread out a little bit more incoherently.
And not too much happening right now. I think this is the point where you want that Wukong to rotate. When you compare what solo laners will be doing at this point, compare the Morrigan, has 2 power items, just the breastplate, versus Delnyyy on the opposite side with 1 protection item of each and this Runeforged. This is where you want the Wukong rotating. This is when warriors are strong. So I want to see the Wardens try to get Delnyyy over here and look for this Gold Fury. Because as a team, as 4, they are strong, but they would be a lot stronger with 5.
Wardens getting engaged upon here. Phantom Shell used successfully by Leon, and you called it. Inbound Delnyyy making the rotation, using that teleport relic. Meanwhile, RelentlessOne just has to hoof it across the map. It's going to be a 5v4 for at least a few seconds here as Delnyy's playing Space Creator. Nnog and slaaaaaasH just delete Bayroneri off the map. And the Wardens dropping off the Gold Fury. It's a full-on bait now. slaaaaaasH moving forward onto Geno. Delnyyy charging forward into the back line. Scythe off the mark there. Big silence. Cuts out 2 from the fight. RelentlessOne has joined the fray here. On the left-hand side, Nnog chucking some barrels over the wall. Delnyy's in a tough spot here. Ox form away. RelentlessOne not able to put the finishing touches on the solo laner. Finally taking out the Sun Wukong. Migiiiiii able to dash away as well. 4 members low from the Aaru Scorpions, but not much in the tank for the Kaolin Wardens.
And Delnyyy and slaaaaaasH go a little bit deep, and Delnyyy ends up getting punished. But Gold Fury and a 1-for-1, still not too bad for the Kaolin Wardens. They got the kill into Bayroneri. It's not like they traded a support for a solo laner, but that is a play where take your win, get the Gold Fury, start farming elsewhere. We don't need to go get another kill, especially when it's chasing out the support. It's not like you're shutting down a fed jungler or a fed mid laner or anything like that. Take your wins when you get them. You don't have to push much beyond that. I mean, 6,000 gold is a lot of gold, but if they were playing a little bit cleaner, a little bit smarter, I think, over this last few minutes, this Warden's lead could be pushing 8,000, 9,000.
Just for the moment, it's about 6,000, maybe a little bit less, as they lead the kill column 8-3. There you see, 5,500, pretty close to 6K. They lead, Aaru Scorpions, 1 more tower, so at least they have that for themselves. Pyromancer going to go, it might be a coin flip here as the Scorpions able to confirm the Pyromancer. Delnyyy and ELLEON were trying to contest it, weren't able to do so successfully though. Aaru Scorpions not out of this game yet, still have a little bit left. Not quite giving up, not quite emptying the tank just yet. Delnyyy and ELLEON, this is a disgusting pairing late in the game. So much CC lockdown and damage. Want to take out RelentlessOne, who's pretty tanky here at about 19 minutes.
And both ADCs have rotated over. Look to be pushing down either the mid. No wave in solo, so it looks like just about mid. Maybe a grouping getting ready for Fire Giant. Nnog on this. Raijin happy to dash in.
Now Bayroneri is so low, can't step too far forward. Guy also forced out of the fight. Barrels coming through, not finding their targets. slaaaaaasH is in the air. slaaaaaasH looking for Bayroneri. slaaaaaasH doesn't go in, instead retreats to the tier 2 tower. Migiiiiii able to successfully leap away. slaaaaaasH might be in a tough spot here. Riptide back in. Scythe off the mark. Bayroneri with the final blow onto the Thanatos. And the Kaolin Wardens, losing their jungler, forced to step off of the tier 2 objective and back off to lick their wounds.
And again, the Wardens are just pushing their wins, just trying to get more than that's really allowed for them. They're just going way too deep. And again, it's this front line or the jungle solo that are just playing way too aggressive. Take your wins when you get them and then punish them after. Get the objectives. Now ELLEON's going down because he's getting caught out.
No ultimate online, and Bayroneri, final judgment, puts down the Aphrodite. And you're right. I mean, this is a complete switch up from games 1 and 2, that mentality. And now we're saying, game 1, nice tight game, right? A couple mistakes. Game 2, we saw 3 or 4 sloppy team fights, didn't really need to trade, right? Game 3 here, might be seeing some fatigue as Delnyyy heads up in the air. I mean, this is just, it's just an arena game. It's taking fights. It's going too deep. It's not playing as conservatively as we saw in the first couple of games. That led to a successful win for the Kaolin Wardens, and then a misstep that gave the Scorpions the game in game number 2.
Yeah, I think you say it perfectly too. It's game 1. They play this style. They play this more defensive style, and it works out perfectly for them. In game 2, it's the same sort of style that starts them off, and they're in a good spot. But then there's permafight. I don't even want to call it a style, because it's not even a style that really fits their comp. It's just this want to take every fight that happens and dive too deep that is really punishing this Warden's team. And a lot of it, 6K lead a minute ago, and now we're sitting at 3,000, 3,500. This lead is just disapparating with how fast that they actually gained that lead also.
And it's almost like the Kaolin Wardens are sort of hand feeding it to the Scorpions, right? The Scorpions aren't making these miracle macro plays. They're not like hyper farming the map or anything. The Wardens are just taking some interesting fights or maybe getting caught out of position, and the Scorpions capitalizing on perceived mistakes from their opponents. So we might see some aggression here on the left-hand side. There's a lot of healing and a lot of tankiness here at 21 minutes on the map, though. It's going to be a poke fight, and then whoever takes the advantage fully committing. I mean, you can see there Delnyyy able to escape successfully. Slash can head into the air. ELLEON gives anyone a second life and healing in the kit as well. I mean, how do you deal with so much sustain coming out from the Aphrodite here at 22 minutes?
For the most part, you look for, like, as you said, it's whoever wins this poke trade into the sustain trade, that's who's going to win it. NotGeno's caught out a little bit, taking a lot of damage. They have the execute.
Not going in. Doesn't even need it, though. A Slash comes from the air and takes out the Yemoja. Bayroneri on the back foot. Delnyyy charging forward. Isn't able to find the knock-up. Percussive blasts from Nog on this Raijin in the monkey skin. Delnyyy locked down here. Up into the air. Just gets up there. Remember, the anti-healing applied by Serqet means that it was more for movement than anything. The Somersault Cloud ultimate from the Sun Wukong, that is. Slash wants to keep hanging around this right-hand side. Keep it rolling here. But finally, the Kaolin Wardens happy with their pick. I mean, they're still stepping forward,
Huge
though.
ult.
Bayroneri, the next target, going to go down to Slash, who is playing the Thanatos very well here in game number 3. Migiiiiii almost out of mana here. ELLEON recognizing it, charges forward. Tubahh leading the fray as well. Ultimates down across the board for all of these squads. It's going to be base kits for the remainder of any engagements we see.
And the Wardens still going so deep in a lot of these fights. It's still a fight they're winning. Yes, they're still killing Bayroneri. Yes, they still kill Geno. But they're trying to get even more than just getting that objective that is standing in front of them. And that causes Delnyyy to nearly die with how they're playing. So we need to see this Wardens team start playing a little bit smarter. We've seen it now a lot this game where they get these nice little wins. They get to execute onto Geno. Back up, go for an objective. Why are we chasing beyond that? Let's get our wins, and then let's go for the stuff after the stuff, as you were talking about previously.
Oh, Kaolin Wardens, the shots from Tubahh take away the Pyromancer from the Scorpions. Delnyyy creating enough space for the ADC to get in there. Now, once again, up into that Somersault Cloud. Dashes away. So RelentlessOne takes a bit of damage there.
And, I mean, we're at a point where this game is almost even. The Wardens have gotten a few throws recently, but they're still winning fights. They still got that Gold Fury. They got the Pyro too, I think, right? And so, on top of that, a lot of stuff is still going their way, but it's just these fights. It's the stuff after the stuff. It's talked about all the time. You've already highlighted it. It's been highlighted on the desk. You need to get something after that first win, and we have not really seen that from the Wardens this game.
Well, I have a question about the jungle. I mean, Thanatos said he was going to fall off in the first game. Didn't. Triple kill. Looked phenomenal. Is there a point where Migiiiiii is going to overtake Thanatos as the prominent jungler in this game? We'll get back to it. I guess as Delnyyy gas pedals into Bayroneri, who's been the target of pretty much every team fight here. 2-5-0 for the Thoth. Geno and RelentlessOne locked down there by the Thunder Crash, but an absolutely gorgeous ultimate from the Yemoja splits the fight into two pieces. RelentlessOne able to walk away, at least for the very moment. Thunder Crash over the wall to catch up. RelentlessOne has so much movement speed available in that kit. Geno able to successfully escape as well. RelentlessOne's pathing kind of weird. Instead of curving back towards the tower, just trying to lead Slash and Nnog away from the chase. It's now caught in between two. In goes Slash. Down goes RelentlessOne to some weird pathing. Migiiiiii trying to take out Delnyyy, who's up into the air again. No healing. ELLEON and Tubahh sending out tons of damage. This is a gnarly dual lane combination. And meanwhile, the Raijin's just been shoving up the wave on the left-hand side.
Did you see it?
I didn't.
Migiiiiii blink ulted the minion, and he missed the god. Oh, it was... Okay, I've done it before. So I can't roast or anything.
Value, because you ult the minion, it dies quick, poison spreads.
He threw it towards his Phoenix. He didn't throw it towards the enemy. If he throws it towards the enemy, genius.
I was trying to
genius.
help.
He can join me. He can join me in the way of ulting a minion with Serqet. Tough. It would have been massive brain if he ults it and throws it towards the enemy. But either way, back to a spot where Wardens still have a nice little lead. They're grouping on this objective, but again, they got another huge win. But what's the stuff after the stuff?
Fire Giant looks to be the call here from the Kaolin Wardens, who have ballooned their gold lead to the tune of 9,000, just about. It's still a 5v5. I mean, the Aaru Scorpions are completely unwilling to give up any free objectives or defense at this point in the game. 26 minutes, approaching level 20 across the board here for the Scorps. Geno is in a tough spot at level 15, a little bit more burstable when it comes to just pure health bar. Migiiiiii RelentlessOne playing the corners here. Guy, Geno, and Bayroneri straight down the middle. Delnyyy is just unafraid of stepping forward. Looks like all that time playing those mages in the solo lane didn't remove any of those solo lane warrior chops from Delnyyy, who is still stepping forward. Here's the Sun Wukong. One stun could spell curtains here for a backliner of these Scorpions. In goes Wardens. Didn't like what they see. There's Nog going in aggressively. Attached to the Aphrodite. You can do whatever you want on this Raijin. Bye-bye, RelentlessOne.
Nog.
Slash says goodnight. Geno's in a tough spot. Riptide actually moves Migiiiiii out of the way. Could have been a huge zigzag there. Guys falling so low as Delnyyy is coming up huge in the back line. Geno in a weird spot here. Migiiiiii able to successfully get away. Kaolin Wardens a little bit worse for wear. Delnyyy blinking to safety here. It's 4 members versus 3. The Aaru Scorpions on the back foot, but the Wardens do lose Nog, which means their main source of secure is in the grayscale for the next half minute.
It looks like the Scorpions not going to be able to get here in time, so Fire Giant on 4 of the Wardens for now. And something that we have to pay attention to going into this sieging potential. The Aaru Scorpions, or GuyJ specifically, do not have that crit hunter in these fights, so is there going to be no I mean, you even said it last game. There's a 4-digit crit a couple times. We're going to see no 4-digit crits for the Aaru Scorpions in this next fight. And Tubahh still going for that crit build. No Deathbringer available yet, so no big crit numbers on that side. But still, a crit here or there on somebody that's not got any protections or is not a tanky player will spell, I mean, half health at least. But on the opposite side, GuyJ will have a lot of shred potential for Delnyyy and for ELLEON. So that's something that they'll have to be paying attention to, making sure Guy's not able to auto them a lot.
The last couple of fights, we've seen ELLEON connected to Nog. Nog goes in aggressively with that Thunder Crash, immediately up into the ultimate, and then it's just havoc from there. I mean, I doubt they're going to switch up from something that's working. So if you're the Aaru Scorpions and you're recognizing this strategy, how do you adjust to that? How do you adjust to the survivability of Nog and ELLEON being tethered?
I think you just have to use the Serqet ult to force out the Aphrodite ult as quick as possible. Have Migiiiiii be the one engaging, looking for the Aphrodite ult at the beginning of the fight, or whoever she is connected to. If Nog is the one that's going forward, drop the ult on him. Make Aphrodite use that ult as quick as possible. Do not let him be comfortable standing there in that ultimate. Because on the opposite side of things, Slash has not really been an engaged tool at all. Slash is waiting for the fight to be halfway over before he even goes into the air. And then he's just looking for that execute. So I think the Aaru Scorpions need to be a little bit more on the offensive. Look for the play to try to force out this Aphro ult.
Classic split here. ELLEON and Delnyyy in the middle lane. You got some big-time backliners and damage dealers on the left-hand side. It's kind of curious that Delnyyy has split off with Leon here and not Nog connected to this Aphrodite for the extra life. I mean, topping the damage charts right now, 25k. This Raijin's been putting in the work. Middle Phoenix drops to about half. Lane's pushing up. Kaolin Wardens being patient here as Nog gets healed up to full by the power of Aphrodite here at approaching 30 minutes. Now, Aaru Scorpions, it's not like they don't have a great defense. Anytime a Yemoja's on your squad, you're feeling pretty happy about the walls you can put up.
And on top of the Yemoja, you also have this Thoth to also trade that poke. Thoth, one of the best blink bird.
Only immediately heading into the backline, forcing out Bayroneri, creating some space for the rest of the squadron to move into this Phoenix line. Migiiiiii taking so much damage. Delnyy's just doing whatever he wants in the backline. Only now goes up into the somersault cloud. RelentlessOne, bye-bye. Slash says good night once again to the solo laner. It's repetitive at this point.
Yemoja
Geno throws up the walls, catches 3, but the Kaolin Wardens walk forward instead of backwards. GuyJ trying to put in some work here. Instead, it's all 5 members of the Kaolin Wardens grouping up. It's like a seance as GuyJ is in the afterlife. Migiiiiii does have ultimate, rather. Bayroneri, same thing. I mean, if Bayroneri can find a 5-man stacked ultimate, could be a nice defense here. But the Kaolin Wardens aren't going to fall for that trickery. As the left lane Phoenix drops, middle lane Phoenix quick to follow. Bayroneri dash away. Same thing goes for Migiiiiii. Bayroneri taking so much damage now. No dash. Now caught under the Phoenix. Tubahh finds one, but Bayroneri at the very least trades it out. It's a deicide. Aaru Scorpions put in their place. The Kaolin Wardens pedal to the metal, throw patience to the wayside, and take a game number 3.
And a lot of positives to take from the Warden side of things. A lot of really good team fights. It's obvious what I'm going to say. You're probably thinking what I'm already thinking about right now. We need to get to a point where, yes, the Wardens can win these fights, and then they can look for something afterwards. They're team fighting like a phenomenal one-man unit right now, but the chase potential that they're doing, just running it down and just not looking for objectives, that's where their biggest weakness is. And on the opposite side, the Aaru Scorpions, it's something where they have to be able to adjust their game plan in the middle of a game. They try to do the same thing. Keep playing it slow. Keep trying to trade. Keep trying to trade poke. It's not working out. You got to try something else. Whatever it is, that's what the Aaru Scorpions need to do.
Kaolin Wardens give up on Conquest, play some Arena, and it comes out in their favor with a 2-0 over the Aaru Scorpions. Let's throw it back to the desk to break it all down for you.
That's right, it's the Kaolin Wardens moving on in the winner's bracket here between them and the Scorpions. In this game 3, started off a tad slow, but then immediately, as soon as level 5 hits to the Thanatos, Slash is getting active across the map, dives to solo lane, dives to duo lane, trying to stick with ELLEON as long as he can to try and get the most value of the Aphrodite alongside with them. A couple of missed sights here and there, maybe drop some kills throughout the early game, but as this late game comes through, the execute is the big factor the team needs to get those kills.
Well, let's get to the real stuff, J-Mac, and it's exactly like I was telling you on that initial death segment. Top pick Aphrodite is just the way forward. From here on out, that's what the meta looks like now, I suppose. Just kidding. But ELLEON has himself a phenomenal game here on Aphrodite. Really does bring a lot of that pressure to lane, grabbing that first blood for his team, and then those rotations out, just making it miserable in every single one of those mid 3v3s, every single mid camp. He was always there. Phantom Shell real early on, so Geno wasn't exactly allowed to have phenomenal ultimates himself because there was always a way for everyone to go ahead and walk through them. Sure, Slash maybe could have hit a few more size, but I think the size he did hit, high impact. He was always where he needed to be on map. Nog was allowed to free farm for the majority of the early game, so by the time late game rolled around, he was hitting just a little bit too hard. The casters bring it up. Objective play, maybe not their strong suit, but when you're moving like a unit like this, kind of like how the Kaolin Wardens are playing.
The Deathball style seems to fit the Kaolin Wardens' MO. They played it almost perfectly here in game number 3. Even you can see on these sieges, it's just who cares about the objective? We don't care about a Phoenix. We don't care about going for the Titan. We want to get these kills because we already have our means and our way to get into the space. After taking down that left Phoenix, it's the Kaolin Wardens on top in game 3 and the set. 8-4 and 7 for Slash, and a 4-1 and 4-0 game for the 2 carries of the Kaolin Wardens. Helps net themselves pretty big win. Also got to shout out the 17,000 healing that ELLEON puts up on the Aphrodite. Again, remember, that's single target healing that he is providing, and that healing number does not count for himself. That is 17k he put out to the rest of his team throughout this game, so good on support for making sure to keep the team topped off in HP.
But you know me, I'm looking at damage. Well, I'm looking at gold, then I'm looking at damage. But damage, real important here, 32,000 from Nog. I believe nearing the top or at the top of the damage charts every single game so far this set. He's been one of the emergent players everyone's told me to keep my eyes on, and I think for a good reason. He's proved himself here. I think he might become a regular here in the SCC. I'm thinking we've not seen the last of Nog. I mean, certainly not in this tournament, advancing in the winner's side.
Yeah, we'll definitely be seeing more of him as this tournament continues to progress. The Kaolin Wardens have found themselves a win. It means they're going into the winner's bracket, so we get them for at least one more match in this bracket to see if they're going to be the team to qualify up first for their group, or might see them twice so they have a loss and then have to go through a second round. Because remember, all these teams are fighting in 2 separate groups, trying to figure out the top 2 teams for each group to move into that third and final bracket. And we can take a look at least the bracket for the Kaolin Wardens side of thing. With their win, that means that they're going up against the Tyrian Weavers for their next match, the number 2 NASCC team. On the bottom end of the bracket, it's now going to be a hard fight for the Aaru Scorpions and Oblivion. After what we saw from Oblivion just earlier today, this is no SOC team slouch. These guys are here to play. They're real. And, I mean, taking the number 2 team, the number 2 seed in this event, all the way to 3 games, and every single one of them were close. Aaru Scorpions are definitely have to shore up some of their mistakes from this set to see if they can find themselves pop forward just a little bit. We can take a look over at the next bracket, though, over for the opposite side here in Group A. As we saw at least a little bit earlier today, Shivalba Storm was able to find their win over the Athenian Sages. Valhalla Valkyries had their forfeit win over the Cat Club, and as you can see, will be the same case for the next time that we would have seen Cat Club. It will be a forfeit on their end as well, so the Athenian Sages will be the team advancing on into the next round, and we'll be awaiting now the loser of the Valhalla Valkyries and Shivalba Storm to see which of those two teams is going to be the first one to qualify up into Group C, and which is going to be the team that has to go and fight the Athenian Sages for that second chance. And again, try to fight the top 2 in this group, top 2 in the opposite group to get your top 4 teams. Then you fight for the top 2 to see who's going to be the ones to go to the SWC group stage. Easiest way to say it, just keep winning the game, and you'll be able to go to the SWC group stage in January.
And after that?
SWC itself, the World Championship stage in Arlington, Texas.
Oh, man, Arlington, Texas. The Central Time Zone in
North
America?
Yeah, we got to go backwards in time to get there. We're 1 hour back.
GMT -6. I don't know. I actually don't know.
I don't know the GMT, the UTC. I don't know none of that. I know what time it is right here, right now, and then I can convert from there, usually, at least for here in the States. That's about the extent of my knowledge there. What I can tell you is that you can tune in at 11 a.m. EST tomorrow.
It's time to close the day.
Yeah, it's time to close the day now, so you can close the book on day 1.
They're playing the music, J-Mac. We got to get out of here.
Serqet playoffs. But if you tune in tomorrow, 11 a.m. EST, then you can tune in for day number 2 on behalf of myself, Mifflin, all together, cast, and everyone behind the scenes. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for day 2.